Hi friends, good evening and welcome to IBM TV Celeb Tuesday. And good morning to the world and good morning to the US, United States of America. And I would like to welcome our guest Jim May, Alexander Starr, and Ben Coates to join us on the live show.
Hey,
Hi, good morning, good evening, and to everyone.
right.
Welcome to IBM TV Celeb Tuesday.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon to UK and good morning to US.
And Canada.
How are we?
Then, how are things at your end?
Interesting. Interesting, I think, is the key. We've, as we're on a Celeb Tuesday show, we've got an interesting court case going on with a couple of celebs that you might have heard of, Mr. Depp or something like that, and Amber Heard. I don't get it. It's you couldn't write a book about it, Ankit and Jim and Sasha. You couldn't write a book about it. Some of the things that are coming out, absolutely ridiculous. I don't know. Celebrity life, eh? We're better off without it, aren't we?
Well, sometimes I feel that way too.
It is, Jim. Honestly, it's horrendous. But no, yeah. We things are good in the UK. Things are picking up slowly. So, and I've got a coffee with me. So, what more can I ask for?
And congratulations on your win.
Oh, cricket.
What can I say? What can I say? What
Awesome.
can I say?
And you know the man of the match is Ben Coates.
Close, Ankit. Close.
Sorry, Ben Stokes.
Stokes. Yeah.
Oh, close enough.
I taught
You take
him
credit there.
Obviously, me and Ben are very close. Well, the same name. I've played cricket. Well, I've held a bat and a ball, but he plays it quite well. Yeah, no, it's tremendous. Do you know what, Ankit? If this was the Ashes, the England West Indies series, if this was the Ashes, you'd have a lot more publicity. It's a great series between two good sides, and it's great to see. Look, we're cricket fans, isn't it? Fantastic to see the Windies back playing good cricket, Ankit. You know, there's nothing worse than it. Looking, I grew up with the likes of Holding and Marshall and Greenwich and Haynes and cracking West Indies side, and always felt I want to compete with that. I'd love England to compete with that. And now it's the opposite way around. We want them to compete with us, and they are. It's great to see a good West Indies side coming back. So, yeah, no, it was a good day yesterday. And things. So, yeah, So we're all right. The UK, we're okay. And Nick's not,
because we have a great cricket game without any conflicts or without any problems with COVID and all those things. So I think that we can play a lot of good cricket in future as well. If the pandemic, the way it's going, we still have a lot of sports.
How did Ireland do, Ankit?
Ireland beat England a couple of times, so I think Ben knows about that.
Sorry, my broadband went down there. I missed that completely, Jim. I'll tell you what. Why do I keep coming on these shows? I'm going to ask you that. Last week, the wheel problems. I thought Nick's not on today. The wheel problems are not my fault for a change, and now you two are just on about that.
But the best part is that the earlier England captain, I'm not sure whether he's the captain of ODI right now. He was from Ireland. He's from Ireland basically.
The one-day captain, we've let them come across and learn from the best, and then we've put him as skipper to give him.
Thank you. That's so magnanimous of you.
And his name is Owen Morgan. So he's from Ireland. He played for Ireland and then he started playing for England.
Ian Morgan, if he's played for England, it's Ian if he plays for England. Ian if he plays for Ireland.
There's English spoken many ways. There's American English. There's
what I call it suitable English. It was whatever suits the conversation, Jim.
Yes. I was wondering how Sasha was feeling, and then I looked at the market.
Well, you answered your question.
Yes. Sasha's doing fine today.
So today Sasha don't want to talk about market because we had enough conversation yesterday. So he needs a break today.
Well, the new day is a new day, and there is always new information, a new situation, and so far market is doing well. The gold stocks are going through the roof, and I expect that will continue for another probably 65 years non-stop.
That's
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. It doesn't matter that America will go bankrupt and everybody will be staying in the soup kitchen to get something to
Own
eat. It
gold.
doesn't matter.
You'll
It
be
doesn't
okay.
matter. The 0.11%, those who own stocks like Tesla and Netflix, Microsoft, and a couple of others, they will do extremely well, and they will be each controlling trillions and trillions of dollars, and all the rest of the people will just in the soup kitchen.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
you know, go ahead,
haven't
Ben.
we all, haven't we all got IBM TV shares, Sasha? Didn't I see that in the contract somewhere? No.
Depends whom you're asking.
It was. I can't say who it was, but I had a good conversation with Ankit the other day.
They're paying me in Bitcoins 2.0. I don't know what that means, but
But you know what? I was thinking about something. You know, the talk is cheap, as people believe. When you put your money when your mouth is, that means something, and that's what I like about it. It's in certain ways can be measured. It's not that, oh, this guy is right and this guy is also right and maybe both of them are right or whatever. No, I have a special test for anybody who would like to accept the challenge. I challenge anybody to put I don't know, 100,000, maybe $500,000, it doesn't matter, whatever amount, equal amount, in the same brokerage house. So we would have the same commissions, we would have the same margin requirements, everything will be the same, equal level playing field. And we'll lock this money, say for, could be 6 months, could be a year. Probably a year would be better because then we cover all seasons and so on. And we can measure the results once a year expire, but also we can measure results in the reality time, in real time, such as every day, every 30 minutes, because the balances are being updated instantly. And you can see, you can discuss your trades, and you can do everything. So, of course, there would be a small wager who will perform the best, and we'll go from there. I will have to formalize my challenge, and we'll do just that. How about you?
Sasha, maybe rather than putting real money behind your mouth, we can just
No, 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 no,
Can I be real
no,
money?
no,
Okay.
no, absolutely not. Because it's not real money, so you made some kind of stupid move. So, hey, you know what? I was wrong. Okay, I was wrong. So once I was wrong, but then 5 times I was right. So one time I was wrong, I lost $50,000, and 10 times I was right, and I won $19.22. No, we don't need that. We don't need that. Real money on the line. Okay,
Oh boy.
that's how it's going to be done.
Well,
it's a good idea.
I was just sharing this. I was just sharing this program on Facebook then, and I got to share it just as Sasha was going, no, it's fantastic to watch it without the words. Just watch Sasha going, no, and you could tell he's shaking his head at Jim. It's brilliant that was. It was just timing.
you can share it on Facebook. How do you do that?
Ankit does a watch party, don't you, Ankit, on Facebook?
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
So yeah, and then you
I won't
share
be
it.
concentrating on you guys for a moment.
But the problem is, if you will use sound, then it will conflict with your sound on the show. So you have to be careful about that. If you don't have sound, that's fine.
That was the thing, Sasha. There was no sound. It was just you going.
So there is no sound required. It's all self-evident.
Yes, we'll just do it by facial expressions. They can't podcast that way, Ben.
No, they can't. No, I tell you what. No. Podcast later Thursday. No, definitely. But this is definitely so. So yeah. So
Well,
There you go.
I would challenge Sasha, but only with play money, and he won't accept that challenge.
No.
But what Sasha said, we did this experiment when I was in college. So we started when I started investing in the stocks. So we had some pool of money. I mean, all our friends, and then we invested in some stocks which I picked, and there are some common stocks, and then there are some stocks which I mean, so there's a tip like Sasha gave us a tip or something like that, and we analyzed that what kind of different stocks have give you different returns. And we did this practice for like maybe 2 to 3 years, and then we started investing on our own because we understand how the market works and all those things, and that's what it is. But as of now, I invest in market, but not that aggressively because it requires a lot of time and effort. But I
Right.
definitely study the market and what's going on with all those companies and around the world. But I wanted to invest in global exchange as well, because till now I've invested only in Indian exchange. So that's the plan, but that takes a lot of more research before I jump in. For that, I need more classes from Sasha before I
Yes.
could invest.
No, that's very wise, Ankit, because a lot of times before I commit my money, I study something and I see if my analysis is correct before I start to act on it. And so a lot of the times, you think you know something, and then, well, you can always have Rakesh, welcome. And we always think that we know what's going on, but things change so rapidly. So if you're going to invest, you must pay attention.
Jim, if you notice, you've just contradicted yourself. You said that before you invest, you want to study something, and then you invest. At the same time, what you're saying is the situation is changing so quickly that all your studies, what you've done, are worth nothing, and you are still investing however situation may change, and everything what you've learned about the stock or industry or whatever you're
Oh,
still
it's
learning.
no contradiction at all, Sasha. What I'm saying is that you study and then you pay attention. You must adapt to changing situations.
Show me
Even
an
though you make
example.
your best analysis.
Show
you
me an
can't
example.
Rely on that. You must
Show me an example.
study. I'm sorry?
Show me an example.
Well,
What you've studied and then invested.
Well, IBM was a very solid company, and IBM got some bad news, and IBM started to drop in price. And so I call it the lemming effect. And I'm a contrarian by nature. So when people are piling on, the stock is going down and down and down, I'm studying the situation and I'm saying this doesn't add up. The company is solid, and the market is punishing it beyond any sense of rationality. So at some point, I see this trend continue, and then I dove in. But then I monitor it, and I start to see, was my analysis correct? Maybe the company's going bankrupt, and maybe hey, sexy Rick, and maybe I was wrong. But I have to keep paying attention to this. But it turned out that I was right, and the stock started to come back to its previous highs. And so I made quite a bit of money by a contrarian philosophy, not acting immediately, but acting as this course of time showed that my analysis was correct, and then I acted and sold. So this is an example.
So you entered the stock when it was bottomed out and started to get on its way up, and that's where you enter, right?
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. That's the right strategy. You can't, unfortunately, people are trying to catch the bottom, and it's extremely difficult. First of all, there could be double bottom. It could go one bottom and then another much deeper bottom, or so on. So the right strategy, absolutely what you just described, to wait until it bottoms out, wait, don't go in. It starts to go up. Then you possibly can commit some money, not all money, but some money.
Right.
And if you're right and it goes even higher, then you add up to your position. That's the right strategy. I totally agree with you.
Okay.
I'm no investor, but I remember a long time ago, 30, 40 years ago, one of my professors who taught us finance and was also a very active investor, he said it boils down to understanding the risk involved with the company. If you don't see a long-term change in the risk, then you can hold on to the stock. And you can make money just like you did, Jim. If you see a long-term change in the risk because of change in markets, and quite rightly, as you said, observing what's happening with the market, what's happening with the company, it's not just within the borders of the company, it's also the way the market is changing. And if there is any difference in the relevance of the product and the value the company provides, then you have to make your moves. But I leave it to my mutual fund managers.
Well, Sasha,
because
I
I'm
just
not
told
an
you one
expert.
success story. I'm going to tell you an active story that is not yet a success. It's not yet a failure. But I bought PG&E after the wildfires because I thought the stock is being pummeled beyond any rationality. PG&E is not going to go bankrupt. So, but it kept going down. So now what I bought it at, I doubled down. And so now my average cost is better, but it's still below my average cost. And I still think that it will come back. But I'm holding it and waiting, and it has not yet happened.
No, okay. I'm not a big fan of this company, but I understand your motivation. I understand how you did it. If no, what I don't like when stock is going down. I don't. You know what? I like green color on my screen. I don't like red. And when on my trading account there is some kind of a red, oh, makes me sick, really. I mean, I can't, that's why when there is a little bit of red, I sell it right away, just not to see. Yeah, just not to see it. You see, that's a problem. However, okay, let's get serious now. With Procter and Gamble, obviously there are reasons to own the stock. It pays dividends. It's a good fundamental stock. It's a part of almost any portfolio. But is in this market condition, okay, you want to own some shares, okay? The way I would approach it, I would sell puts in anticipation that if stock will stay the same or will go higher or even go a little bit of lower, I still make money on the puts that I sold. However, if it will continue going down over, I will be exercised. I will be getting for my puts. I will be given stock, but at much lower price than it was when I sold the puts.
Yes.
So I'm winning both ways, either on expiration of worthless puts and all premium I keep, or being exercised and acquiring stock at much cheaper price. At least.
And Sasha, we're
And I
going
think
to go
it's
into
time
puts
to shift from
tomorrow.
talk to music. We have Sexy Rick with us, so let's talk about music.
Yes.
What?
And how's the world of music going?
Ari, good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you.
We can't hear you. We can't
I
hear
can't.
you.
Okay,
Try again.
that should
Yeah.
be good now, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, my
you
friend. I don't deal with stocks a lot, so I was interested in letting y'all talk. I didn't care about the music right now, but that was interesting.
How to make
No.
money? Yes,
Yeah. I mean, how to make money with your own money.
that's right. Money makes money if you do it wisely. Yes. Well, we're waiting for Sasha's show tomorrow because we got interrupted. We were talking about puts and we didn't get to the point where I could understand it. I got covered calls, but I don't have a correct understanding of puts. So I'm not yet ready to take Sasha's point of view and put it into practice myself. So I'm still learning. So we're all learning, and
Right.
so just jump on board because IBM TV is smart TV, and we're all learning from it. I have yet to be on an IBM TV show where I haven't learned something.
That's great.
But this is Celebrity Tuesday, man, and you are the closest thing to a celebrity we have. So
Oh,
we want to
Lord.
hear from you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, because we saw you on the saxophone playing for us on Zach's show,
Right.
and that was something else. You were, but you can't go out and play for people now because of the COVID
Well,
situation.
some people are playing right now. I've turned down maybe 3 or 4 jobs already because I'm not really ready to go back out. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not ready to go out.
What about virtual gigs? Are you doing any virtual gigs right now?
Say it again.
Are you doing
Any virtual
commercial
gigs
gigs?
or anything on digital platform you're doing?
No, I have something set up right now. I'm going to go on and do something live for about 45 minutes. I haven't set a date for it yet,
Okay.
but I have a 45-minute show that's already set up. So
Secretary, I'll just reintroduce our panelists once again. We have Jim Maid from Chest Without Borders, and he's the CEO of AIDS Foundation. And we have Alexander Starr from Canada, and he runs a website called Chess Stars, and he also does a lot of programs on IBM TV, including investing, modern investing with Sasha. We have Ben Coates, our media guy from UK, and he manages Mogi Media. And I think he could run a lot of shows in UK for Rick as well. I mean, if we can collaborate on some level. And then we have Rakesh Krishnan from Hong Kong, and Rakesh manages an online education classes. And I am your host and from IBM TV from Delhi. And we have Saxby Rick. He's a musician based out of New York.
Yes. And I have to apologize for insulting Ben because he's the celebrity as well. And so Ben, you had your hand up.
That was just because I needed a wage. No, I'm joking. Rick, on a serious note, Rick, is the music industry totally dead where you are? Because in the UK we've started driving events, and the situation we've got is that we've created these boxes for people in their cars. People laid out to the one side of the car, the driver's side of the car. And the difficulty we have is getting people there first time. Once they've been there first time and then come a second time, they're very comfortable with being there because they know how safe it is. But what it's allowed us to do is to get musicians and acts that have been at home for 3 or 4 months. And we seem to have, there's definitely a closer community. You're not finding anything at all in America at the moment for yourself or wherever you yourself.
No, there are venues taking place right now, but like I said, I'm not ready to go out. There are other people who are out playing and singing, smaller venues, outside venues where everybody's spaced out or whatever, in the parks and things like that. But I'm fine right now.
Is that a personal choice of worry, or is that a personal choice of just wait and see, or
a little bit of both?
Yeah.
A little bit of both. I'm not particularly worried about getting sick, but I just want to stay home for right now. I'm working on other things here right now, and I need to finish them up as well. So,
And I think that's been a big key, is that people could have been sat at home during this pandemic and just wasted the time. I've never found a better time to work on the business rather than in the business for a change.
Yes.
And I think that's what you're saying, isn't it, Rick? That you've worked on the business. That's great. So, when are you looking at going back out? Are you looking at going back out differently, or what ways have you got to change, you think, from your previous style?
Yes, kind of differently, because I'm working on 3 different projects right now. A funk project, a smooth jazz project where I play my horn, and then I have a project that I want to finish where I actually sing on more than I do play my saxophone. So what I've been doing around here is figuring out which songs I want to release first off of each project, and trying to get a strategic, timing situation where I can release them.
And do you think it's harder for somebody at your level compared to the A-listers, for example? Are they getting a lot more traction than your good self? Is it,
with the internet and everything available on the internet? I don't think it might be a little harder, but it's available, readily available.
Good luck to you, sir. Good luck to you. Sorry to take over there, Jim.
Oh,
Ben,
Ben.
on your message that what are A-listers doing as compared to other people. So I'll share one of the articles of Netflix, and they are they have some competition as well.
Okay.
Let me just pull up that article. Here we go. Can you see that?
Yes, we're starting to see it. Yes, now we see it.
Yeah.
Really clear. It's not HBO.
No.
And Netflix hears about a lot of digital content created by individuals on different platforms, and that is the concern for Netflix.
Yeah.
It's not HBO, it's not any other platform, and it's concerned because everyone wants to be on OTT platform, and they mentioned that how big is the industry right now. So if you see that, according to PwC, anticipates revenue from media and entertainment will reach an estimated 2.6 billion by 2023. According to Nielsen ratings, US adults have spent an average of 11 hours, 27 minutes per day connected to media.
Whoa.
Now, interesting point is that with Netflix reaching 15 billion in revenue in 2018, that still leaves 2.5 trillion left over.
Wow.
So Netflix is still far behind this mark, and that means a lot of players like Netflix can be a part of it. And that means that the because of the digitalization and all the things, it's open to everyone, and anyone can be strong enough to create a lot of things. And now this is especially for Sasha. Investors have seen an amazing 21,032% return, and since we first recommended Marvel, later bought by Sydney, investors have seen 6.67% in returns. So there's amazing returns on media stocks.
The worry for me, Ankit, as always, is that we're talking the top level of people here. It's always that next level that the entrepreneurial people, the supposed smaller people that entertain the masses. Obviously we've got Netflix, we've got concerts, etc., and you get so many thousands. But every week in pubs, in clubs, in venues, there's amazing people entertaining hundreds of people, smaller quantities, but more over the year. And it's that level that we need to support and find in the arts and culture world. It's people like Rick and people like that we need to ensure, because a lot of them, it pays their mortgages. They go to work all week, then they go out and gig a weekend. It pays their mortgages. Without that market, they're going to have to go and get a better job, and we're going to lose them because they can't afford to do the gig because they've got better jobs.
And Rick needs to buy paint to paint his saxophones. So everybody's got bills. And the thing that I love about this trend, this article is talking about something that is actually trending, and that is we used to have a media that controlled the content, and now that is being broken apart by the seams, because it's a democratic process and it's a technology process. The two are combining to make it individuals have the ability to communicate all across the globe, and it's not controlled by just a handful of people that may think that they know what I like, and they may not have any idea what I like. And so now I can browse and find what I really like. And it might be it's actually Rick on some undefined channel that I just have to be lucky enough to find.
It's funny you should mention that, because tonight in the UK on BBC, there's a programme starting on Rupert Murdoch, which I'm really interested to watch. It's how his dynasty was built and what kind of dynasty he has. And I think it's, and look, we've got it's catch-22. He's got a dynasty that takes a lot of the media, but it's also, as Sasha said earlier, put his money where his mouth is and has built it. So, there's always a balance in the middle. But of course, you can't have people dictating what we see. We've got to make our own minds up and things like that. So, really interesting to watch that tonight, and hopefully it'll give us a glimpse. It's a series, so it's going to go on over a few weeks, a few nights. So hopefully it'll give you a glimpse into what his future is, because he has to adapt now. A lot of the newspapers are dying. Physical newspapers are dying. We all know that because of advertising revenues.
Right.
I'm writing this down, Ben. I'm writing it down. It's Murdoch on BBC. Is that the name of the show, or?
It's called. It's called. I think it's called the Murdoch Dynasty. Yeah, the Rise of the Murdoch Dynasty.
Okay, thank you.
You can probably download that. Yeah, so it's episode 2 tonight. So, but yeah, I mean, he's obviously a very powerful man, but he's in a dying trend of an industry now. Newspapers that that people get their information from everywhere and everywhere. Well, it's good in a way you can get information from different places, but in a way, but also it allows fake news that we all know does
Absolutely.
happen.
Something I've noticed that in media especially, and perhaps even in other industries, in the US and the UK, there are fewer players compared to India, where we have some 300, 400 channels for television. And a classmate of mine who was who owns a bank, he was saying it's probably because there's no Indian company law doesn't allow hostile takeovers.
Oh,
so it actually sort of doesn't allow it, and that's probably why we have so many channels and greater choice for the customer. So perhaps of course, my friend was for, my classmate was for hostile takeovers because he runs one of the largest banks in India.
Yeah.
But I think there are pros and cons to it. So I think in media it shouldn't be allowed because it allows a greater gamut of choices, rather than maybe in other industries it could be allowed for efficiency's sake. But
That's fascinating.
yeah, for media, I think if it was kept out of media companies, I don't know whether you can do that as a law.
Yeah.
But
Well, as a law, if you start allowing monopolies, then you can't discriminate which ones you can allow to monopolize.
exactly, all the Weinsteins and Nonsensteins would be out if we stop this.
Rakesh, you bang on it, because the problem I have with things like Sky, for example, is that they come out and they don't give the customer the best deal. You can ring up your satellite supplier and negotiate the price you pay. Now, how is that correct? We're being loyal to them. We're sticking with them for so many years. We're watching their programs they create. Why aren't they offering us the consumer the best deal? Why are they trying to take as much as they can out of us? And the problem they're going to have now is that people have seen this, and there's so many different choices. The biggest thing under threat in the UK is the TV license. We pay a TV license for the BBC. There's massive conversations. Governments are going to delegalize it, so you don't have to pay it. So it's going to become a subscription. It's such a... Yes, the monopolies are great, but then, of course, they dictate, and then, of course, you have to ring them up. And I spend, probably a day a year ringing up companies saying, I'm not going to threaten to leave, but just give me a better price. Because they know that, you know how to work it. And if you're honest with them, they give, why you don't just give your customer the best price, make your money.
I think in a democracy, Ben, media should not be allowed to become mega corporations. There should be some kind, because media is one of the pillars of democracy. And if you allow one pillar to be dominated by an interest group, you're weakening democracy.
And Murdoch is one of those that dominated the media industry. And I must say that, the fourth estate is what we call the media in the United States. And because they keep people honest. But when you're controlled by just a few sources, you're not necessarily keeping people honest. And the journalists that dig deep into stories, and they are now a dying breed. It's the ones that can get something out fast, quick, and entertaining that are proliferating.
Right.
And likewise for artists, if you allow good, you prevent domination of artists, where artists have to grovel in front of these media moguls, then you will have far better art, far more entertaining, and more job satisfaction for the artist, and far superior art for the consumer.
And the media and the art have to now interlink, because we're not allowed to go to theatres still at the moment, although it's coming in very shortly, etc. We're not allowed to go to concerts unless they're specially put on, as these driving events are. The only way of getting to them is through the telly. And if the artists are not willing to work with the broadcasters, and they're willing to sit out and wait for the theatres to reopen and actually talk to the audience they have, there's just no communication there. We're not benefiting as a consumer, and yet we're paying these companies 3 figures a month.
Absolutely.
It has to, I mean, why isn't, people like, why isn't the programs like for Rick and stuff like that from home, playing his saxophone? Okay, you have to go through certain standard checks, etc. But, good artists, why isn't there the channel for that? The up and coming people putting money into, because we're always looking for the next best thing. But how are you going to find the next best thing unless people know it's there?
And one of my pet peeves is that I pay through the nose for a Major League Baseball channel and Ankit Think Cricket. I'm following one team, but I don't live near that team, so I have to subscribe to this package. So I get all the teams that I don't care about in order to be able to see the one team that I do care about.
Right.
And so something's wrong with this picture, but they have the control, and it's an either or deal. Either I don't get to see my team, or I pay through the nose to see all of them that I don't care about.
I'm moving to New Zealand in a couple of months, and I'm not going to buy a television. I've decided that I don't need a television. If I want to see any entertainment, an artist, or anything like that, I will use my computer. I will use YouTube, and at least I can pick and choose. So if I, for example, my wife is actually quite fond of the saxophone, so I will, if Rick, if you have any YouTube channel, I would like to. I do. Subscribe to it.
Please do. Yeah, I have stuff on YouTube. Yes.
Yeah. Do let us know what's your channel on YouTube. Channel?
Sexy Rick.
Sexy Rick.
That'd be hard for me to remember.
Yeah. So we'll write it down.
No, okay, but make sure you don't put a K on it. Make sure it's just as RIC.
RIC. Okay. And it's not RICK. It's RIC.
Okay. Just RIC. Okay. Yeah, because she learned to play a little bit of the saxophone. She's quite fond of it. She loves jazz, and so I will ask her to take a look at your channel too.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is what should be happening. We need to be spreading out things like this.
I'd like to ask a question. Anybody? Have you ever heard saxophone player by the name Fausto Papetti?
No.
Wow.
Can you?
Okay. He's. I'm not sure even if he's alive. I hope so. He is an Italian saxophone player who played absolutely fantastic saxophone. His sound was second to none. He was playing very popular music. It wasn't jazz or a fusion or anything like this. It was strictly popular music, but the sound was just fantastic. It was so mellow. It was. You fall in love immediately. You listen to his sound.
Could you type his name?
I want to tell you something. What's peculiar about his recordings? He made several discs at the time. It was. I'm talking about 70s, 80s. Now his CDs. No, not CDs, vinyl records. At that time, it was vinyl records popular. Today, on average, each one cost $1,500, $2,000 and higher.
Wow! Golly,
you know why? Because it was limited edition recordings. They are very, very good in quality. But the most important reason is that he was the first one who used beautiful girls on its cover. So when you buy a vinyl and you get a cover and you have fantastic girls with legs and with figures and with everything else, it's just second to none. It's just fantastic.
He had a good gimmick. Yeah.
Now you know what sells.
Yeah.
We have Kenny G.
It's fabulous, second to none.
We have Kenny G.
Yeah.
If Kimberly was on, she would say Kenny G was the man.
Well, he's good. He's good.
He's good.
Right.
Hey, Alexander, could you do me a favor and type the name down in the chat box for me so I can look that up? I would love to check him out.
Yeah, he's taking notes, Alexander. The minute you said $2,000, I was going like, okay.
Not the only one.
The only one. He had the whole group taking notes. Hey, so Saxy, what city are you in? What country?
I'm in Manhattan, New York.
Oh, a USAer. Manhattan, New York. Wow.
I'm actually in Queens, but
in Queens, right? Yeah. But do you perform in Manhattan then?
Actually, I don't as much, and I stopped doing it shortly after 9/11. I stopped going into the city, and any job that I was they called me to come into the city, I pretty much turned them down and took lesser paying jobs.
Right.
It was just too much to I carry a lot of stuff with me. I don't know.
Sure.
I carry a whole rack of stuff. See that rack behind me? I don't know if you can see that right there. That's what I carry when I'm a saxophone player, but I carry that thing with me.
Oh, really? Wow. And you have a professional mic,
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, you notice the rest of the people on IBM TV who are not professionals, we don't have professional mics.
Well, this is the mic that I used to record with, so it serves more than one purpose.
It's really good quality. Could you tell us what type of mic it is, so maybe our producers can take notes?
Yeah, and I'll write down.
Write it down.
Sennheiser I think it's the 4K, the
Oh, the
MK4.
Sennheiser.
MK4. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sennheiser. Yeah.
Sennheiser makes some really good materials. Hey, Brandon just joined us from where are you in Tampa, St. Pete, right, Brandon?
Tampa Bay, yep.
Tampa
St.
Bay, and you have a
Petersburg.
professional mic too because you put
Yes.
on professional shows. Ankit, what's going on? Why are we doing with professionals? I thought that was.
It's all about professionals. I mean, that's what Ben Coates and Shakespeare, Rick and Brandon is, and then that's what we are trying to learn from them today.
Oh, really?
How
Okay.
to
Right.
become a celebrity.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they're real celebrities. I think I saw Saxy on the Funk Show. You know.
Yeah.
So,
You're right.
Yeah. You know, it's going like, wow, on Celebrity
Zach
Tuesday,
shows.
we
Yeah.
got to have real celebrities. And Brandon runs a travel show, which you can see all over. But tell us how the travel show is doing right now, Brandon, since COVID-19. Give us an update. What's going on with travel?
Well, it's all been paused. All definitely been paused. I don't know if you saw actually the other day. I think the Buzz joined the list of places that aren't currently allowing Americans to visit. So, travel's definitely paused. Looking much more stick. So it's been nice to relax a little bit. Sometimes I see a plane go overhead, and I think, I kind of wish I cramped in a little seat. For a few hours, kind of miss it, but it's nice to have a little bit of downtime to kind of out and not be moved to hotel.
Oh, well, I'm going to put a plug in for where Ankit lives in New Delhi. This is the New Delhi plug. So he gets one. The other day, like yesterday, they had on the BBS, which is PBS, maybe on Sky, Beacom House, all right, which was on Masterpiece. And what it is, it's about some English dude who Ben would appreciate because he's an English dude, going to India, which is a country that they took over, but kind of did it indirectly, you know what I mean, by funding the East Indian Tea Company. I mean, how stupid is that? But, it made them feel good. So that's what Brits do. And anyway,
Here we go again.
Is that what you guys do? See, all
You
of
thought he
our.
was going to get a break, but you showed up, Nick.
Wait, no, Ben, there is no breaks on IBM TV. Okay, I mean, forget that. Okay, this is a true story. Okay, so maybe it isn't, but it sounds good. So anyway, he went to New Delhi, and of course, he's got all these people there, and there's this big drama. So my wife was watching it. She goes, "Oh, this is really good. This is what we always do on television. We got to go to New Delhi now." Okay, so Anka, just to let you know, I'm going to be visiting New Delhi. I got clearance from the boss. Remember, she is the boss, right? To go to New Delhi. I've already checked out the hotels, 5-star hotels for Saxy will love this because in Manhattan, do you get a 5-star hotel for like $76?
Lord.
What?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Go to New Delhi. Look at the hotel prices. 5-star hotels like the Marriott Marquis and all that other stuff. $76. I was going.
I paid
wow.
5 times that to get in Manhattan.
I know. Well, that's why I pay just to cross the bridge and park my car. I mean, that's the reason I don't go to Manhattan. I mean, when I was working there, it was $18 an hour to park your bloody car. I was going, are you kidding me? And then when I rented my office, I mean, the meter keeps running $50, $60 an hour, but I made a lot of money in Manhattan, so I really didn't care. But man, It just goes out so fast.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny. I was in your lovely city the last week of January, right before COVID-19 hit, because they have Broadway week.
Right.
You're familiar with that. All the hotels go on sale. So I was staying at the Wellington at a great discount at a suite. Yeah. Okay. By the way, Ankit, I was looking at the presidential suites and New Delhi. Oh, if you go to the presidential suite, which is a 700 square foot, beautifully decked out place, it's like $130 a night. Okay, so eat your heart out, guys.
Due to COVID, basically, if you book out the regular prices, this is much more.
No. Please don't make the prices go up. Tell them COVID will be there for a long time. I'll get my vaccine. I'll be heading out over there. I like the cheap prices, the first class. What do I call it? You fly first class, you stay in 5-star hotel.
I'm waiting for the Prime Minister suite.
The Prime Minister suite. Yeah, that's going to be vacant pretty shortly. Hey, look, the presidential suite in Manhattan's going to be vacant also in November 5th.
Yay!
Okay, so anyway, just to let you know. But anyway, no, it was really great. You guys got to check out New Delhi. We're going to have a party over there since COVID-19 is out. Should we invite the guys from Britain because you guys still get along or not? You know, I don't know if they're invited to any other country.
So we welcome all our guests. We welcome all our guests.
We have guys from Hong Kong, Great Britain, the USA here, and India here, and then we have one guy from Great Britain. So that tells you, do they get invited to parties anymore, or what's the story, Ankit?
Ankit, you had something to say.
Yeah,
we are ready to invite everyone. We invite all our guests, and by folding hands, and we say Atiti Devo Bhava, which means welcome to all our guests, and they are like God for us, and they can come to us and visit us India, and we can showcase what is India all about, culture, heritage, and food, and all those things, and then they go out with good memories, and they can bring more people. That's what we want.
The best Indian food I've ever had was in London.
Because you haven't been to India.
Okay, that's what. Have you been to India, Jim? Have you been to India to have real Indian food? Hello, Jim.
Oh no, I go to London for Indian food.
Oh, really? Okay, that's real smart. Well, I go to Manhattan for Chinese food, so come
There you
on.
go.
Yeah, you know. Hey, we got a travel guy, Brandon. Okay. How do I get to India? I want to go to New Delhi and get me my 5-star hotel. Do you guys do that on your travel channel? Do you book all my flights and take care of my 5-star hotel and my first class accommodations?
So, sort of. We actually try to teach people how to do it themselves. We're kind of on the younger audience who say, I don't need a travel agent. I don't want to pay the extra fees to have an agent. So how do I do it myself, and how do I find the best deals, the best hacks, the best travel tips, to make that happen? So no, I definitely have a fair amount of tips on my YouTube channel of flying hacks and
Excellent.
city reviews and all sorts of stuff.
Well, Brandon, I have a question for you. Rick told us what he's doing with his downtime because he can't perform outside like he would like to, perhaps. But he's doing things by himself. So what are you doing with your downtime to take advantage of this situation that's been kind of forced on us?
But besides appearing on IBM TV like the rest of us, what are you doing?
I have been spending a lot of time trying to work on new skills. That's something I've always liked to do in my free time. So I spend a lot of time working on trying to get better at like After Effects so that I can have graphics and fun stuff for the videos, get editing. I try to start learning a couple of languages. That's not going so well. I'm terrible so far. I thought I've tried, but we're
Tell
giving
them
it
to
a
speak
shot.
English and make your life easier. Look, here's the deal. Okay, look, Sasha, who's from Russia,
Speak
spasiba,
American.
speaks English. Okay, look, even Ben Coates from the United Kingdom speaks English. That was very nice of him. Okay, Rakesh, who's from Hong Kong, New Zealand, speaks English. So, Brandon, why rack your head? And of course, Sax speaks English. Why rack your head and try to learn their crazy languages?
Dutch.
English, por favor, baby. English. So don't go that direction. It's a waste of time. And by the way, when you travel, all these people speak English anyway. Even Ankit speaks English. He's from India, the big country, 1.3 billion people. He's got 1.3 billion followers. He speaks English.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
you know what I found out with travel?
What?
If you try to speak the native language wherever you are, at least the people there's so much
I know
help
they
to
do.
you.
They are nicer.
You know what I'm saying? But,
I usually won't learn one word. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you is always good. I had to learn
good.
thank you, and
Grazie.
don't speak that language. So
Right.
those are the two phrases I try to pick up
There we go.
in every language.
Good. Hey, so Brandon, when's your show going to go on IBM TV? You're supposed to be doing your own show. When are we going to get to see the travel show?
Soon. I've some stuff in some kind of TO's edit. Some things like that. So hopefully soon we'll be ready to schedule it in.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, because I know Ankit does all the scheduling. He gave me a business plan last night. I mean, it's all these pages.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm supposed to read all this stuff and know what's
You're
going
a
on.
lawyer, you're supposed to read stuff.
No, Lord, I'm supposed to know all this stuff? Come on. Anyway, you just gave it to me last night. Plop here, read a business plan.
Brandon, I really understand the difficulty of learning a new language. I'm trying to learn funk, and it's taken me a long time.
Well, Zach actually runs a good show. His funk show's pretty good, So the thing is,
I know the slap bass.
Where did we get this guy from? Zach's a real character, you know. But when you're speaking about the media, okay, and Ben would appreciate that because he's in, you know, that island over there that's totally controlled, and yet they claim democracy. Right, everything's a class. But anyway, we won't go there. But the thing is, they have good Indian food. Other than that, I'm not sure about that island over there. But the thing is, the media in the United States has 5 corporations control 90% of everything you read and listen to. 5 companies in the United States. So, and they lock everybody else out. And today, the tech companies are buying media companies. That's the reason. Who owns YouTube? Who owns YouTube? Google. Very good. Ding, 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 ding. Google. Yeah. Who owns Apple TV?
Apple.
Very good. You know, gosh, we got a great class.
We're in for a pop quiz.
Pop quiz, right? This is just for dummies. No, this is called anti-trust. You know, so
the bonus question.
Yeah, but see, like in Russia, they made it easy. They got one station, Pravda, and then they sent us RT, Russian Times, and then that's about it. So they got one station, everybody's on the same page. Here we got 5 of them, but basically that's it. And then I don't know, over in Britain they have, I think, the BBC and a couple of their crazy companies like Sky. But basically it's a real small club, and you're not invited. That's why I tell people, if you go, try to break into the media. Yeah, good luck with that one. It's kind of
go to Hollywood or Bollywood.
Yeah,
I have to say about London and Indian food, I could also go to Vancouver, Sasha. There's wonderful Indian food in Vancouver as well.
He can go everywhere but India to get Indian food. Okay, Jim, everywhere but India to go to get Indian food. Jim, have you ever thought maybe the Indian food in India is better than it is in London? You know, I mean, I know what they did over there because I went to the British Museum. I'm not trying to pick on Great Britain. Notice everybody else calls their country. Okay, notice everybody calls their country like, you know, Egypt, and they call it the United States. No one puts the name great before their country, Great Britain. Can you imagine the great United States of America? You know, I mean, come on. But they do that over there in the pond. You know, great France, because
that's where I went to learn humility.
Okay, yeah, that's where I learned humility.
It does look better on the Ryder Cup trophy when it says Great Britain and Ireland. But it's now Europe, but it was Great Britain and Ireland. So
but Ireland's not so great.
We were the afterthought.
It's Great Britain and Ireland. Great Britain and Scotland. Okay, can you imagine the Great United States of America? We really need to change our name here, or the Great Russia. Okay, you know, I mean, the thing is, you got to think what these guys do.
That goes without saying.
Yeah, but you know what? Both of those are implied, though.
Yeah.
Okay, sign him up. Give him a contract. Okay. You know, give Saxy a contract implied. Okay,
it was
so anyway,
the Great.
Not that we're going to pick on our lone representative from Great Britain, because we won't want to do that. So I went to this museum. They got the British Museum. Okay, for those who haven't been there, and they had all these artifacts from Egypt. Where did they get them from? And they tell, hey, where did they get them from? Okay, did Egypt send them to them on loan? Did Egypt goes, hey, you can have some of these to show off in Great Britain? Or did they just come in and just rip? Here's all the artifacts. And just whack.
I've also seen them at the Metropolitan Museum.
No, they have it in the Met. Hey, yeah, where Saxy lives. We got a couple and we stuck them in the Met. Boom. But you start thinking, where'd they get all that stuff from? Okay, Britain can respond. Yes, of course.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you. It's a gentleman's agreement. It would be if they knew about it anyway.
But the thing is, wasn't Egypt one of your many territories or colonies, whatever you call it? I mean, you took them over too, right?
My 8-year-old daughter is currently studying about Egyptian, so I'm better off asking her than asking myself.
Okay, right. And would New Zealand, hey, Rakesh, where you're from, New Zealand, did Great Britain actually come over and handle and take care of that in Hong Kong for you?
Great in
Hong Kong.
Signed a treaty with the Maoris.
Well, okay. I think the British Museum has some sheep in it. That's what they took from New Zealand.
Oh, they took sheep. Yeah. For those who've been to New Zealand, there's more sheep than there are people, right? You got more sheep than there are people.
Yes, thankfully. Otherwise, we would have had a lot of trouble in New Zealand if we had interchanged the numbers.
Hey, and the British Museum is fabulous. If anyone has
Yeah,
not,
wonderful. Yeah, I've been there a long time ago, but it's lovely.
Yeah, but you have to go all the way to London to see it. But the thing is, it is pretty good. And they also have a fine arts museum. There's some good things about Great Britain. I mean, or Britain, or what do we want to call that place? It's not so bad. I like going over there.
I like Wales.
You like Wales? No, those are in the Arctic.
Ben's holding his head now. Ben needs one of these.
Ben, have you been to London to go visit the Queen? Have you done that yet?
Not quite to visit the Queen. I've been to London many a time though, and London it's like anything though. It's all about embracing wherever you go and the cultures. I've said this before. The problem is a lot of. I mean, I know that Jim goes out of America to eat American food and out of Canada to eat Canada. We already realised he doesn't eat anything because the country's in. But it is great to go and embrace. But also, I think with COVID, I think we need to appreciate our own cultures a bit more now, and I think it's important for our own economies and things. Working cross country is great, but I think we need to start appreciating what we have and make the most of that now. I think rather than
very good.
And looking elsewhere, I think these days, I think that's one of the big realizations that we do have a lot of good. Every country, well, I don't realize it on here, but a lot of the times, a lot of people have a lot of good things to work with, and stuff like that. And we need to interact. We need to learn from each other. That's a big message.
Well, okay. I don't have to leave California to eat Mexican food.
Gee, well, what a surprise! Since I believe Los Angeles, LA County has more people from Mexico than they do the U.S. or something like that. Isn't that what's going on down there over the West Coast, left coast? You
can see Jim in the middle of Beijing going, "Where's the English pub?"
Yeah. Well, he goes to San Francisco.
You can take the American out of America, but
yeah, I mean, he's just truly an American. What my foreign students used to say, narrow-minded American, and then they had a picture of Jim. Oh, yeah, ugly American. So, Saxy, tell us a little about your gigs and stuff. I know that when I went there, I saw To Kill a Mockingbird. Okay, and it was a great program. Ed Harris was actually taken over from Jeff Daniels. Had a great time in that wonderful city, New York, and then all of a sudden, when I left, the place fell apart. Coronavirus. They shut down the theater. They shut down the museums. I went to the MoMA, the Met. Right. All those museums. Everything was shut down. So, what's going on in your great city right now? Are you doing any gigs, or are you completely out of business, or what's going on there in Manhattan?
I'm out right now. There are other people who are actually performing, but I want to set one thing straight. I'm not a native New Yorker, so. There are still things that I'm learning about New York that
notice he set the record straight. He's not a native New Yorker, which means you're from somewhere else.
And what's funny about that, when I say that to some people, they say, "Well, how long have you been there?" And I say 25 years. They say, "Oh, you're a New Yorker."
Yeah, you're a New Yorker.
I am a New Yorker.
You're a New Yorker if you've been there 25 years. Where were you from originally?
From Akron, Ohio.
Oh, Akron, Ohio. Okay, so you went.
Okay.
LeBron James's hometown, and then you went to New York. Yeah, he does the same thing. Go somewhere else.
Well,
he's not really from Akron, is he?
Yes, he is.
Really?
Yes,
wow.
Yes, he is. He definitely is. Yeah.
Okay.
Matter of fact, he built his lab. The school that he built was a block from where I used to live when I was a kid there.
Really? Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. So the thing is, and then you moved to New York. Did you move to New York for the music, or what's the big reason to go to the Big Banana?
Well, I didn't come here first. After I left Ohio, I graduated from high school and went into service for 10 years. And then I came back to my mother, who was in Miami, stayed down there for a little while. Then my sister kept bugging me. She lived in Connecticut, and she kept bugging me about doing the Apollo. You ought to come do the Apollo. You ought to come to Manhattan. I'm like, I don't want to come to New York. But she convinced me to come up to Connecticut, and I stayed there for a year before I did the Apollo. And then I went there and won 3 times. I was like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
You actually got to play at the Apollo and you won?
Yeah.
That's bigger than the Florida State Championship. Man.
I know. Right. So you're a big time then.
The scary thing about the win was, at the time that I did it, Kenny G was big monetarily and radio play wise, but amongst musicians, he was like, they didn't speak well of him, you know. But I won playing one of his songs at the Apollo, which to me was a major accomplishment.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, wow.
You
Okay,
know?
so okay, and so the thing is, then you played in gigs in Queens. Then is that what you were doing?
Queens, Brooklyn, New York, Long Island, out in the Hamptons. I mean, once I got
Wow.
here, I got on the wheel. I got on the wheel because it was all I was doing, and I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't come here to starve. You know, so,
Good point.
so,
Eating is fundamental, right?
you know,
Yeah.
but you got to break through some of the cliques because everybody knows everybody, you know. So you're the new kid, and that, you know, I walk in with a certain swag about myself, but still now they want to know who I am, and then I have to show them, and then sometimes you don't get a chance because they won't call you up or.
Yeah.
You know, so you just show up. I just kept showing up. So
Right.
now I do feel I'm a big part of the Queens family now, and I
Okay.
appreciate those musicians for embracing me the way that they have over the past 20 years.
Right. So would you say a little bit getting these gigs are political? In other words, it's who you know, not just the music you play?
Yes, it's a big combination, but who you know helps you get the job. So yes.
Really? Wow. Yeah, because our Hollywood producer, who usually comes on in about an hour from now, Henning Morales, who said that, you know, I asked him, why do you live in Hollywood? Because, you know, you can film anywhere. I mean, they film in India. You can film anywhere. He goes, well, all the talent is here, and all the people that know this stuff is here, and everything's here. So that's the reason he lives in Hollywood. Is that the same thing? The reason you're in New York is because the talent is there, all the gigs are there, and that's where the action is? Is that the deal?
Not as far as I'm concerned, but a lot of people feel that if you can come here and at least get established and say you're from New York or you've been to New York and go anywhere else, it does sign a big card.
Yeah, it's easier to get gigs.
You know?
Yeah.
So basically,
Yes.
So basically, it's like startup world. You have to say that you are from Silicon Valley, and you'll get the fund.
I guess so. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
True.
hey,
That's
Silicon Valley. You know, they got their thing too.
You're right. Jim says he's from Silicon Valley. They go, oh, he's got to know about computers.
In fact, I had a call with someone, and I told them that one of my partners or investors are from Silicon Valley, Gmail. So they said, okay, your funding is done.
Just drop my name.
That's true. Do you know Jim Eade in Silicon Valley?
And then he asked me, do you know anyone in London or close to London? I told them that we have Ben in London, we have Rakesh in Hong Kong, we have
Your ticket is gone. Go ahead, Ben.
So it's easy to get funding. Mentioning your friend's name and your partners and venture out name, and then you'll get the funding because people are looking for a global market. That's what Netflix is all about. We were discussing the other day about the Netflix share. So it's all about, approaching the market. And if you say that you are from a small town in US, no one will ask, or no one wants to know you, or no one wants to give you money. But if you have some talent, people definitely sign a contract with you. But if you tell them that you are from New York, it's easy to. It's like marketing basically. It's easy to market.
It's a brand.
Something else.
You know, the thing is, like over here, I don't know if you've been to the Raleigh-Durham area, Saxy, but they have the DPAC and they have the Carolina Theater. I don't know if you met Mark Lee. He's on IBM TV. Okay, Mark actually is on the board of the Carolina Theater. This is where I say, who you know does make a difference. Okay, and if he said, okay, I'll book your act for Carolina. By the way, the people here are mad. They show up all the time. I mean, every time I've been to the DPAC or the theater here, they pack every seat. And the DPAC, 3,000 people are there spending 100 to 300 just to see one show in there every night. Whatever reason, I can't figure out, Raleigh-Durham is nuts about live theater. They just are. Okay, so if you got a gig in the Carolina Theater, okay, let's look at two things. Hey, I'm Saxy from Akron, Ohio. Okay, good luck in filling the theater. I'm Saxy from Manhattan in New York. Oh wow, then he knows how to play. I mean, that's kind of like what it is. It's a different brand. So you know,
right.
Your brand would sell here because live from New York. Oh, you got to be kidding me!
You know, it's funny when I go home to Akron to play. They always want to introduce me from New York. And I have to tell them, no, I'm from right here. I'm one of y'all.
yeah, but I'm sorry. Akron does not have a big cachet worldwide. If you went to New Delhi and you're live section from New York, Okay, all the people in New Delhi show up. Hey, I'm from Akron. One Indian will drop by, look at you, and walk away.
Ben, does London punch your ticket the same way? You're not in London.
No, I'm not. I'm in the Midlands. Yeah, it is. The UK is run by agents, unfortunately, and the agents are always looking for extra bit of money. And if they find anybody that's half decent, they grab them, snap them up, make them lose all their contacts that they've had, make them lose sight of reality. And this is the biggest problem: is that we've got a lot of poor, well, I would say poor, not as talented as they should be. And it's not allowing the natural talent to come through because they're taking people that are marketable rather than people that are talented. And this is one of the biggest problems is that if you get into an agent and you get into this, they'll take you away from all your friends. So you lose your own contact database. And a lot of your friends are people that you've been with, in that industry, in the music or in the theatre. So the good ones aren't coming through. So yeah, it's and then you do have to go to London, although that is changing. There is a massive change in the UK. In everything away from the London hold. Birmingham, I'm about 30 miles from Birmingham. Birmingham's got a good reputation. But yeah, and we've got a lot of places all over the country that are gig places. So, the Manchester, etc. So it's not as populated in London as it should be, or as it was. But we still got the natural talent's still not coming through in the UK, no matter what anybody says. Unfortunately, it's all about who you know, like Nick says, who you know, rather than what you're good at.
Yeah, you have to have a big Rolodex. I mean, that's kind of like it. It's your Rolodex, and part of it is who you know and how well you do. Yeah, I agree with Saxy. It's a combination. But if you just rely on pure talent or pure who you know, you're going to lose. You need to kind of like do both of them, and it's a play on both. And but branding is also important. Like if you said, "Hey, I'm Ben from the Midlands," everybody here would go, "I'm from London." Oh yeah, that's a big city. We know where London. And I'm sorry, Manchester just doesn't cut it. I mean, unless it's a soccer team, Manchester United maybe. I mean, we heard about them, but everywhere else, forget it. It just ain't going to happen. So I think the branding makes sense. Yeah.
What Ben was just talking about.
Yes, Silicon Valley.
I was just going to say what Ben was talking about in terms of agents taking people and getting them away from people they know, and they're not with people that they trust, and they're getting taken advantage of. Doesn't that remind you of NFL players?
No, that's every industry. What are you talking about? Wait. Was Saxy, were you taken advantage of in your industry? Is that what Jim is saying?
If I was, I didn't know.
Okay, all right. Well, then that's good.
They must have been really good.
Clean. Okay, that must be good.
No, I didn't say it was clean. I said I was unbeknownst to me.
That's good. See, he doesn't have the problem. See, the people over in Silicon Valley, they all take advantage of each other over there. It's kind of a weird place. So, have you ever played in San Francisco at all? Gone out to the weird coast? I mean, the West Coast. Have you been to the weird West Coast?
Only once, but not to play. I was flying from Georgia to San Francisco on my way to Korea. That's the closest I got to.
All right. Okay.
Spending any time on that side of the world.
Okay.
Colorado was the closest I was to that area. So.
Oh, Colorado. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, hey, do you guys have any culture out there in San Francisco, Jim? I know you have a lot of wireheads. I mean, you have a lot of computer guys, but is there any culture out there in San Francisco or does everybody just stare at computer things all day? You can defend this position since you happen to live
there. You ever hear of Jefferson Airplane? And did
that one crash, or is that one still flying?
And there's a definite vibrant music scene here, and by music I mean anything from opera to funk. And you got everything in San Francisco. You got great Indian restaurants in San Francisco. You get great Chinese restaurants in San Francisco. So I can't promote the city enough. But unfortunately, there's only a certain amount of landmass here, so we can't support a whole bunch of people in San Francisco. That's why the real estate prices are very punitive, and so a lot of people can't afford to live here. So that's another thing that's a downside. But it's a beautiful city. You drive in at night and you just see it lit up. It's a wonderful city, and there's so much to say about it. But we have people coming here because they think it's always sunny in San Francisco, and it isn't. And the fog comes in almost every day. And so it's not the most comfortable place to be outdoors.
Okay.
The So the coldest winter Mark Twain ever spent was a summer in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, right. Well, he was smart. He,
Wow.
he left. What about Moscow? How and Toronto? Alexander Starr. What's the scene over there? Can Saxy get gigs over in Moscow or what or Toronto
He's
or
from
anything like that?
Odessa, not Moscow.
Odessa. Well, they're right next door, right?
Yeah,
Odessa's right close to Moscow. It's somewhere over there in the hinterlands.
We don't know. We're Americans.
I think gig in Moscow is fairly easy to get because people there are hungry for a good American music, and I think it's not too difficult to organize. Toronto is a little bit weird. Toronto has very few live venues these days. I mean, big productions like Broadway productions are being played there. Actually, there are probably 3 or 4 theaters who are playing nothing but Broadway shows. As a live music performance, classical music is okay. Roy Thompson Halls, they have wonderful classical concerts, symphony orchestra, etc. As a jazz is really well, now with coronavirus, it's probably dead like everything else. But even in the good times, there is a hunger for a good jazz music. I remember many years ago, I was in a O'Keeffe Center at that time. It was named O'Keeffe. Now it's different. Sony something. And Fats Domino played with his orchestra. And I still remember I went there with my daughter, and it was fantastic shows. They just came. There were like 9 Fats Domino and 9 pieces band, all first-class musicians, virtuosos. They came just from airplane, right in time for a show, and they started to play some music just to tune up the orchestra, to sound check, and all the usual stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was just fantastic performance. They wouldn't even announce what they're playing because it was a part of sound check. So it was okay. Now Fats Domino came and he started to play the piano. Piano was at the corner of the stage. So he started to play brilliantly. And then he, without stopping playing, just with his tummy, he started to move piano to the center of the stage. Without stopping playing, he just continued to play, moving his piano right in the middle of the stage and continued to play. And all those people, they played 2 hours non-stop.
Wow.
It was a fantastic performance. I still remember, one of the best. And I think Fats Domino and musicians enjoyed the show just as much as people there. They were like spellbound, and everybody was just impressed. It's very difficult, this performance, so spontaneous, so great to compare to anything, really.
Mm-hmm. So Blueberry Hill actually made it up to Odessa then, or Moscow, or somewhere like that.
Putin,
hey, look, Saxy's taking notes. He's trying to figure out how he's going to move all his equipment in the middle of his performance. He's going to be pushing all.
Well, today everything's wireless today, so I don't have to move anything but my saxophone.
That's right.
Well, that's pretty easy. Now, when it comes to playing on the internet, like on this, are you able to actually play like your saxophone on IBM TV, or can you do that, or is it hard to do, or is the sound not come through? Or how does it work?
I've always wondered how it actually sounds on the other end. I sit here and I record myself on my camera through my system, and hopefully that's the way it sounds when I come online. So I never really know the clarity of it until I come back and watch the show.
Oh, okay, right, okay, yes. Actually,
so I'm still working on the clarity of it.
Yeah. Well, we found out on IBM TV that the thing is the internet bandwidths have improved a lot internationally. So this allows us to do this. So Ankit, who beams in from New Delhi, actually he's right next door to us, but we just don't know. He's halfway across 2 ponds. You got to go across the Atlantic Ocean. You got to cross the Indian Ocean. 2 ponds.
Knock on the wall.
Yeah, or he just knocked on the wall. Hey, Ankit. Hey, Ankit.
That's funny. That's funny.
There we go. Right. So the thing is, but the clarity of the internet has really improved a lot, the bandwidth,
Yes.
et cetera. So for those who just joined us on IBM TV, we have Ankit Kandawar, director of IBM TV out of New Delhi. And also we have Jim Eade from the Socialist Republic of Silicon Valley, from also with the Eade Foundation in San Francisco. We have Saxy Rick, who's joined us from Manhattan, otherwise known as the Big Banana. Some people call it the Big Apple, whatever.
By
Okay?
way of Akron, Ohio.
By way of Akron, Ohio, but we're not going to talk about Akron. We're just talking about New York. Ben Coates, who's from London, but not really. We found out he's really from Middleton or some other tiny town, but we'll give him London, from Great Britain, by the way, not just Britain, Great Britain. Okay. And then we have Alexander Starr, who is in Toronto, and he used to live in Moscow, but really Odessa, but we are not going to tell you that because Odessa is close by. And then, of course, Brandon Stewart, who is from St. Peter, where he lives in St. Petersburg, Florida. I don't know if he's from St. Pete, and he's going to run the Travel Channel, but I haven't got no updates when and where that's going to blast off. But Brandon, are you originally from the Tampa St. Pete area?
No, not at all. I've been here for 2 nights. I'm kind of close originally to Akron as well. I was raised in Ashland, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Which is
What's up,
about
homie?
an hour and a half drive. Yeah, that was where I grew up, Ashland, Ohio.
The great state of Ohio.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
The great state of Ohio. Everybody from Ohio has Ohio. That's the one thing you should know about Ohio.
Everybody
Never
has
meet
Ohio.
someone from Ohio in Ohio.
Determine all our presidential elections too.
Oh, yeah, they do. That's kind
And
of
fun fact about Ohio, we actually have more astronauts than any other in the U.S.
Wow.
So there's something in Ohio where people want to get out so bad they'll go to outer space.
I didn't know that, but it wouldn't surprise me because
Yeah, I would have guessed California.
my relates actually came from Ohio, and they moved to Florida back in 1883. And the reason why, they said it's cold there, it sucks, no one wants to live there. Anyway, that was my report from Ohio. So my parents and grandparents came from Ohio. They came from Sydney, Pickaway, and Troy. I don't know if you know where that is. Tiny little towns on the near Lima, north of Dayton. I don't know. I've been there, but it's just like all the reports I get. You wouldn't want to stay a winter in Ohio. It's too bloody cold. They don't use bloody. I'm doing that for Ben's sake.
But if you want to be,
if you want to get friendly with the people from Great Britain, you always say bloody. They're from bloody Ohio, mate. Something like that. But you don't use mate. That's for the Australians. Just go bloody Ohio. I'm going to help Saxy out in case he happens to go to London someday, and he needs to talk to the Londoners, because remember, you got to communicate with these people, the people from Great Britain. You just say bloke, and then they'll, oh, that means I'm a friend.
Blimey.
What?
Blimey.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't call them a wanker. That'll get you in trouble.
Oh yeah, wanker will get you in trouble. You have to know their culture. It's very strange.
Let me explain to you about one thing about me. The one thing I always learn, and you all know, the first thing you learn in any country that you go to is always the bad words.
No, I know all the bad words in Hindi. I've never.
I'm saying everywhere that I've gone, I've always learned the bad stuff before I learned to start speaking the language.
Okay. I had a friend of mine.
Ben's got to say something.
Yeah. Okay, Ben.
Jim always learns about the foreign food in that country. That's what Jim always learns first, isn't it, Jim?
That's true.
Yeah, but see, Jim goes to London to have Indian food, Indian food. Then he'll go to France to have the best Chinese food. I mean, can you follow what this guy does? I went to France. I had really good Chinese food there. Great. And he writes a book, Chess for Dummies. I mean, you have to understand these people.
Don't do what I do at home, kids. I'm a professional.
No.
The one phrase that works everywhere is Grand Bière, please. Grand Bière. That's what everywhere means. They all know what that means. Grand Bière, please.
I ain't a close beer. I was in Germany for 5 years, so
you were in Germany. Where in Germany were you?
I actually did speak the language pretty fluently at one point, and I understand it still much more than I ever spoke it. But I was in the service over there, and I had a band of 3 German guys and 2 American girls with myself, and we toured while I was over there. And like I said, they made me. They would never speak English during our rehearsals.
Right.
So I had to really like bone up on my Dutch. And then when we had radio interviews, they made me ask. They made me do all the interviewing. So they would say, "Give him about 5 beers and he'll be fine." You know. And they always say you did really good. You did really good. I'm like, okay, if you say so, but I'll be steady.
Oh, don't try that at home either, kids.
Wow. Okay. So you've had some internet. You've been across the pond. Hey, did you ever stop by London? Or
I haven't been to London yet.
Oh, so you went right to Germany. You bypassed Great Britain. So even that star attraction, Great, didn't suck you in over to there.
Unfortunately, because one thing about the UK, especially back in the 70s, that was one of the places you could go musically, funk-wise or whatever, and come back here. After you go in there, come back here, and you a star.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
The UK was no joke back then. And it still is, because they still play most of the funk stuff over there now. They still have a big following for the funk and even some of the other American music, but the funk still lives in Great Britain.
Oh, really? Wow.
In the UK.
In the UK. Yeah. United
the Beatles
Kingdom.
were nothing until they went to Germany. So.
Yeah, it's a United Kingdom, but when they really want to impress you, it's Great Britain. Because I got a little book back there. It says it's great, so I do know a little bit about that, And I do go over there every now and then to go talk to the Queen. She won't let me in her house though; it's too big. Have you seen those houses over there? They're huge. What's going on over there?
It's a palace. It's not a house.
Oh, that's not her house. Jim Worrell, if that's not her house, where does she live?
She's got a little bungalow at the back. She's got a little 2-bed bungalow at the back for her and Phyllis.
Oh, is that where she lives? A little
the mother-in-law.
You know what?
Hey, by the way, are those big houses? Are they supposed to impress me? Is that the deal? Is that what you're doing, Ben? Is that the reason you guys have those big houses? What's the deal?
Well, I think it's just for show. Yeah, I think all the action happens in a 2 little bungalow. It's the same as the Prime Minister. He's got that door at number 10, goes straight through the back into this little house at the back, a little bungalow. But it's a lot of it's for show. A lot of it's stature, isn't it? I mean, we're quite traditional in the UK still. We still do a lot of old traditions and things. Horse guards parade and things, and a lot of it's just to say, look, we do keep our, we do understand our history at times, even though we've taken over the world according to Nick. But
yeah, on the British Empire.
Well, yeah, you did take over the world. I thought that was kind of your goal at one point in time. And then you stopped it. You said this wasn't a good idea. I don't get that, But no one really knows what goes on because you guys have a weird political thing. Also, I do get to watch your politics here. I always think that it's bad here in the USA, the divided states of America. Then I go to Great Britain. I said they're pretty messed up over there too. So you make us feel good. Just think about that. Okay.
If you change the United States of America to the divided states of America, we'll change it to disunited kingdom. So that's the deal I offer from the UK for you guys.
Yeah, you could change it to the not so united kingdom. Because I always hear Scotland wants to leave, Northern Ireland wants to join Ireland. No, they don't want to join Ireland. Wales isn't sure what they want to do. Great Britain thinks they still own the Falklands. Falklands say, yeah, we're part of you, but we're close to. Yeah, I mean, you guys are kind of like nutty over there. And every now and then we get to the BBC.
Anymore because we can talk about what happened in Hong Kong because you guys were nice enough to give.
Oh yeah. You liked Hong Kong at one time. They said no, we don't like it. We'll give it back to the Chinese. They can have it. I mean, your politics is just like it's like a football game. You never know who's on first or who's winning. I mean, it's just the Indians like they hate you. I mean. It just doesn't make any sense over there. So Great Britain is like one big drama show. We have one too. It's called Celebrity.
We're beloved everywhere.
We have Celebrity Presidency going on right now in Washington D.C. So we have a TV show that goes on 24/7, and
reality TV.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's a reality TV show.
It's more of a horror film, I think, than a tell.
Yeah, but it's not covered real well because the thing is, he doesn't sit down there and say, "You're fired. Ooh, what decision are you going to make today? Boy, that was a horrible decision. You're fired." Okay, so they really need to choreograph that better. If I was there, I'd have them like sitting on a desk, bring these people in. Hey, I'm the president of ExxonMobil.
What we are united about is music, though, Rick. We're all united about music in the UK because it's like you say, it is a massive part of our culture. And actually, just going back to the original conversation, there's very few bands from London. There's an interesting fact. A lot of the bands we've
Really?
exported, the North, Manchester, Leeds, Liverpool.
Absolutely.
The Beatles were Liverpool.
Yeah, the Beatles were from Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oasis is Manchester. You
Right.
know, Stone Roses. You know, big Manchester scene. So yeah,
Right.
and the funk scene's massive up north. It's bigger up north than it is down south.
Mhm.
Wow.
So yeah, our theatres and stuff is London dominated, but our music scene, there's very little domination in London itself. It is up the northern counties.
Wow.
So there's an interesting fact.
Ben,
for you, yeah.
where are the Dire Straits from?
Now you're asking. That's a little bit before my era, Jim, as you can tell. I mean, you know,
You took a shot at me.
Dire Straits. I'd have to Google them, I think, and go to Wikipedia. You know, me being 21. Unfortunately, it's times 2. But, you know,
Making fun of the graybeards, Lynn. Help me out here.
they all.
If it's not classical music, I don't know it. So
Where is Death Cab for Cutie? Where'd they come from? Death Cab for Cutie. We'll throw that trivia question out.
Dire Straits were from London, Jim. Actually, Dire Straits were a London group, but they still never made their name in London. They came from there, but never made their name around London. Very few bands. They make the way to make your name in the UK is by going to Manchester, Newcastle, Glasgow, Leeds. You know, there's none of the festivals are in London either or around London. Reading is the closest. So yeah, our music scene is very diverse and it's a wonderful thing. I mean, over the last few weeks, I've done quite a few driving events, and we had ABBA, which obviously we imported from Sweden, stole from Sweden.
Stole from Sweden.
Stole from Sweden, yeah. Do you know actually though, when ABBA won the Eurovision Song Contest, do you know how many points the United Kingdom gave them?
No.
0.
No.
Nil fans. They're the best ever Eurovision Song Contest winner, and we give them 0 points, and then we stole all their music. But there you go, yeah. But no, but
my nieces know ABBA. Yeah, they're a young band.
ABBA's a young band.
Yeah.
Okay, Jim.
It is the one thing I can proudly say the UK is cultured on. The UK is not a cultured country. We know that. We're a very ignorant country, and there's very few, you know, the culture in the UK and understanding other cultures, etc. We've said that before. But in music, we are very cultured, and we're very proud of what we do. And also, we accept, we love bands that come into us and bring their music as well. So that is one thing that we are proud of, is the music industry.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so we can have a slogan right underneath: Great Britain, great at music, but not great at anything else. You could have that. It's like a little slogan. So when people go visit, they'll know really we're great at music, but not great at anything else. With that, we're grateful to have a sponsor on IBM TV, and we just brought him in, Lynn Shepard with the Family Dollar Store. We have to do our commercial. It's kind of one of those things.
We do have to do a commercial.
Yeah.
But I love the segue. I haven't figured it out yet, but I love the segue.
It's magic. It's the magic of television. You know?
The magic of television.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the thing is, we can even give you the stage. It's real simple. Just press a button.
Well, yeah, I know. I know. There you go. So yes, my name is Lynn Shepard. We own the Family Dollar Store. It's an online dollar store. We are a sponsor of Money Masters PBS. We give half of our profit to Money Masters PBS because we love the mission. But through the end of August, we're giving 100% of our profit. So we encourage people to come to IBM TV, go to the website, click the big green button, and sign up to become a customer and start shopping, because there are lots of reasons why you should shop. But I think one of the biggest reasons is you're supporting the mission of Money Masters PBS. And what's that mission? The mission is simple. It's to cut the gap between poverty and financial sustainability by providing financial education and financial fitness. And we love that mission. So if you go on to the dollar store, when you shop, you're going to be supporting the mission. When you sign up in the month of July, we have a gift token program. When you sign up in the month of July, you're going to get $5 worth of gift tokens just for signing up to become a customer. You don't even have to shop, and you're going to start out with $5 worth of gift tokens. And gift tokens are very much like gift cards that you would get by going to Target or CVS or one of the stores. So we have the gift tokens, but if you sign up by the end of July, we're going to give you another $5, okay? And if you recommend somebody else signs up to become a customer, whether you do it in July or otherwise, we're going to give you another $5 worth of gift tokens. So why not shop? We have lots of great products. Sometimes I have to depend upon Jim, but right now I'm going to say we have these masks, which are surgical masks. They're 3-ply. They're 95% effective, and they're just like the N95 masks. We have them. I usually wear them when I get on because I don't even want to see a possibility of there being computer viruses that might happen because I don't have mine on. So anyway, no, I'm of course kidding, but we do have a box of face masks. Okay, they are $25 for 50. If you use your gift tokens, it's only going to cost you $20. You know, even though I have an engineering degree and I'm supposedly good at math, I have to depend upon Jim to tell me what the cost per mask is for $20 for 50 masks.
40 cents.
Well, Jim has told me enough that at this particular point in time, Jim probably can even remember what it is. But I see him working on his phone, so he's doing the calculations.
I got 40 cents last time. I'm
40.
going to check and see.
You better check it again. 40 cents. We also have Minion napkins. I see Mark joined us. Mark has Minion napkins. Jim has Minion napkins. Kimberly has Minion napkins. Okay, so if you want to join the club, just get Minion napkins. These are great. And then, of course, we have the most important CBD patches with lidocaine, which if you're a chess player, you need to wear these because moving those chess pieces around the board can be very stressful on the arm. Okay, you can get tendonitis from playing chess. Jim, and because we know from Kimberly that you want to stay ahead of the pain. So when he wants to play Sasha, he puts one on his head because he knows that there's going to be lots of pain playing Sasha in chess. But these really do work. So I do have tendonitis in my shoulders. Okay. I do play tennis, but it's not from playing tennis because I do a lot of yard work. So I put them on my shoulders when I do yard work, and it really helps. I have a friend who owns another store just like I do, and his mother and stepfather both have back problems. They started using the patches with lidocaine. They don't have pain in their back anymore. Okay, so I encourage everybody to go on and shop at the dollar store. I should point out that a lot of our products are much less expensive. The patches are less expensive than you're going to find on Amazon. But since we don't have any ladies right at the moment on the panel, I might mention that we have one item that gets rid of the lines in your face. Now I know the men don't care, but the ladies do. On Amazon, that particular product, identical quantity, sells for $67 plus $4 of shipping. We have it for $4.99. And that's just one example of a lot of them. Most of them, much of what we have are name brand products. Things like Dove soap and Dial soap and stuff like that. We also have an Irish Spring. I forgot that we have Irish Spring. Jim loves Irish Spring. We have stuff from Johnson & Johnson. We have it from Sesame Street, Fisher Price, name brand products. So we don't sell cheap products. We sell them less expensively than you're going to find them elsewhere. And we deliver right to your door. So other than for those of us who live in Bernathen, Pennsylvania, where we don't have mail delivery, so we got to go to the post office. But I will point out that we also don't have any COVID cases in our town. So the fact of the matter is maybe it's tied into the fact that we have to go to the post office. Who knows? But We deliver right to your home, and delivery is basically free for orders over of $25 or more. So Jim or Mark, you've been around long enough. Have I missed anything?
What are the reasons? What are the reasons people should shop on the dollar store?
The reasons. Okay, number one, you don't have to go out. Okay. Number two, you don't risk getting COVID if you don't go out. Number three, we are less expensive. Number four, following the mission of Money Masters, if we are less expensive, then what you're going to do is invest the money, which is something you should do. Number five is you are supporting the mission of Money Masters. So, and I'm sure there are lots of other benefits. We do ship in the United States. Unfortunately, and Ankit knows this, we are working on getting a store in India and in some of the other countries. That will happen. We could deliver to Canada, but since I have a daughter that lives not far from Sasha in Toronto, Sasha knows the problem, and that is that Border Patrol is going to hold this up. So, you know, it could take actually a couple of months. But Sasha and I are going to meet at the bridge in Buffalo, and we're going to play some chess right in the middle. They're going to set up a chessboard for us. You know, when we go through customs, neither of us will actually go through customs. We'll just stand there, look at each other, and play some chess in the middle of the bridge.
Is Sasha going to hand? I mean, Sasha's just a vicious player, and
I know.
His opponent. So you need to be handicapped.
I've got my patches, Mark. I've got my patches. So I know I'm going to have a lot of pain. But I also know, since I'm such a poor chess player anyway, because I haven't played for years, that it's not going to last very long. Oh, yeah, I should bring my book over because I have Chess for Dummies. And I am clearly a dummy for sure, at least.
So it's going to be a very quick game. I just want to know, you lose to Sasha, are you going to flip over the set? Because I remember when I was a youngster, sometimes folks would do that. They would flip over the set so that they did not have to take the pain of losing.
I haven't done that since I was 30.
There you go. There you go. So I encourage everybody, even for instance, Ben, who's in England, or the United Kingdom, or the dysfunctional United Kingdom. I can't remember what it's called. So like the dysfunctional United States, Ben can become a customer just like Ankit has, okay? And you will get
friends in the United States.
Yes, he does have friends in the United States. Just like Ankit, I'm sure it's one of his sisters just signed up to become a customer, because I was looking at the customer list this morning and I see someone who looks, is it a sister or a Sanchit? Who's Sanchit?
Brother.
Your brother. Okay. I apologize. I don't know a lot of Indian names, Ankit, so I apologize.
Yeah,
so
you
your
brother,
Lynn, I've got great news for you. I got up to 11:30, so I have climbed up to 11:30. So we're getting there to try to find out if that hammock exists. So I did get up to 11:30 now. So we're trying to see whether the hammock is going to be there at the end. You know, there's all these great things that I want. I know that Saxy Rick over there, my new good friend and one of Zach's friends, would like you to add a saxophone to the list of things that we're carrying at the dollar store, but we know that's probably not going to happen. But that's what he's looking for. He's looking for that magical saxophone that's only going to be there in the dollar range and everything. So
he'll paint it.
If I can get paint there.
Unfortunately, I don't think we have paint. We might have little bottles of paint that you can use if you're doing drawings. But
decorative paints are fine. I love decorative stuff.
Yeah. Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
But what we can do is we can have a saxophone sticker signed by Rick. We can sell that on dollar store.
Oh. I have my own logo too. I'll have to send it to you guys.
Yeah, there you go.
On dollar store.
I'd buy that.
Yeah, I'd buy that. I like that idea. That's a great idea. Amazing idea. So, see, Lynn had probably forgot that, but I did not forget that. What is the latest thing that you have painted on your saxophone? Because you just do some amazing paintings on that saxophone, in addition to being an amazing player. Like I said, when Zach introduced us to you, I was just thoroughly blown away by your playing skills, but also that artwork, because you do some great artwork on those saxophones. So I just want to know, what new images are you putting on your saxophone?
Just my name.
Yeah.
Only because
like
once
an artist.
because once you there's no room for mistakes. I can't mess my name up. But putting anything else on there with permanent paint or whatever, it's a wrap. So,
Yeah.
So it would be a rap, and it would just cause all kinds of problems, and folks would not be sitting there trying to figure out. You see, if you're like me and Jim, you got that bad handwriting. So, we're sitting there going like, we don't want to even sign our names because we have those bad handwriting. Jim
I get my wife to sign my name.
oh, I have great penmanship.
Oh, good.
I have great penmanship. But to put any other art on there, I would have to start doing abstract drawing once I messed up. Now I got to make this something else. Now I got to go further. Now, no, I'm not taking it. I've done that before, and I decided to stop doing that. But you know what I found out? I did find out how I could transfer it on the computer on the blank transfer paper, and then place it on there. So I can do it one time, and then I'm going through a few processes for that.
Good for you.
Like I said, Saxy Rick is just amazing. He's just an amazing musician. Just to remind folks that are watching on this platform for the first time what your music is all about, and where they can find that music and things of that nature. Because like I said, I was just thoroughly impressed when you were here a couple of weeks ago, and I'm looking forward to seeing you here on a more regular basis. But I know that we've got folks that are probably watching and are not familiar with you. So just tell folks a little bit about that background and about that musical skill that you got, because I'm definitely impressed by your music and would like to have everybody know your music around the world. I'm tired of them knowing about that guy named Kenny something or another. I'd want them to know about some real classic saxophone players.
Well, I haven't done my own music yet. I've played on a couple of CDs of other people here locally in Long Island and New York. So I have nothing of my own out yet. Well, I can't say nothing of my own because in 1986, I did put an album out with my group from Germany, but that's long gone. That's been a long. Actually, it's like $125 too on sale over there. They still selling it. That's crazy. For the whole album, it was live in Munich. But as far as my own self, I don't have any music out right now, but I'm working on stuff. But you can go to YouTube and check out some of our videos. And you can also go to Saxy Rick, all caps. If you go to Saxy Rick, all caps, SAXYRIC, all capitals, you'll go to my musicians page. If you just go Saxy Rick, like it is here, printed here, then you'll come to my personal page. But the artist page has more videos and different videos than I have on my YouTube page. So you can check both of those out. That'd be nice. And leave me a message, please, so I know you showed up. That'd be nice.
Who knows? You may find one of them old friends of yours from Munich, Germany. I mean, I'm thinking that, even though you're no longer there, haven't been there for a while, who knows? One of your old flames may even pop up there and say that they remember you from back in the day when you were in Munich and when you were a much younger man and were probably a little bit more out there in the club setting. So who knows? This might be the opportunity for you to find some old person that you knew from back in the days, like some old flame or an old friend.
There's one person in Munich. I was stationed in Frankfurt, but in Munich where we did the album at, there's one person I really would like to meet because I took a picture for the album cover with a shirt that she took off at the show. Because I said, I like that shirt. She took it off and gave it to me right then and there. That's why I love Europe, man. It's like it's freedom over there, man. But I took a picture of that myself with that shirt on the album cover. I would love to meet that person. She probably don't even remember me. I don't remember who she was, but if she see her shirt, because it was a custom made shirt, I'm going to show you the guy. I'm going to show you the guy the picture of it next time I come on. I'm going to have a picture of it. Let me see. Do I have it? I don't have it right now, but I'm going to show you a picture of it. But that person, I would like to find out who she was, because I said, I like that shirt. She said, here you go. I'm like, whoa, everything. Yeah, it was a nice shirt.
That shirt, and you enjoyed having that shirt. Lynn's been married to his wife for many years. He probably forgot those days of his single days and things along those lines when folks were tossing shirts and tossing other things. And even if he did remember it, he's got to have collective amnesia, because I don't think his wife wants him to remember those things. So am I correct about that?
You're correct. I think I was 2 the last time I was single. Anyway, no, I've known my wife since, well, I started dating my wife when I was 21. So, and we've been married 54 years. So that
Wow.
that tells you probably how old I am. But I've known her since I was 12. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
beautiful, man.
Yeah.
So you met your soulmate when you were 12 years old. That's just amazing that you met your
But
soulmate at that.
But I didn't date her, Mark. That was the interesting thing. We were just friends, and I think that's part of the reason why we're together as long as we are, because we've always been friends. And you know, so she is my best friend by far and away.
And it's great to have a best friend that is your partner in crime and everything along those lines. So that's what I'm looking for. 58, so I haven't found it. You know, if I find somebody at 58 or 59, then you add 54 years to me, I'd be like 100 and something. So that's going to be an interesting ride if I can last that long.
Hey, but that might add some years
like
to your
200.
life.
What'd you say, Rick?
I said that may add those years to your life when you find it now.
That's true. That could add a year to the life. I've actually jokingly said both on here on IBM.TV as well as some other platforms that I'm part of that, you know, I set an impossible goal because, you know, they say the lifespan of humans is only a finite amount and we are gifted with that amount, whatever that amount will be by the Most High or whatever. But I have definitely said that I want to go for 200. So I'm going to try to be like, you know, maybe Midas or one of them other folks that they claim that they were around here for 200 years. So like I said, it's probably an impossible goal, but I'll go for it as long as I'm able to speak intelligently and able to have all the benefits of the youth. I have considered myself to have a youthful energy and things of that nature. So that's what I'm going for. Like I said, you know, it could be that it doesn't even make it past 59 or 60, but or 58 for that matter. But I'm going for 200. So we'll see what happens with that. I saw the young man over there shaking his hand, one of my fellow folks involved in the industry that likes to travel as well as Saxy Rick. So I see that Brandon's over there. And, you know, I think traveling also gives you a little bit of age experience. So you get that experience of seeing various cultures. So you might want to stay young as well. So Brandon, you think you're going to go for 200 as well, or you're going to stop at 150? Or
well, you know, we'll give. I guess I'll have to start eating lots of kale. Isn't that's the new thing, right? You gotta be eating all the healthy. Yeah, no, it'd be great to live time. You know, I don't know. My grandparents and my great grandparents both made either 200 or pretty close. So hopefully, I have good genetics there, and you know, I'll get to make long old age too.
Well, we know that Jim's going for like, you know, Jim's going to play you here like we think forever. So Jim's just going to be around the planet forever and is not going anywhere. But then he also complains about what's going on in the planet. So sometimes he's like, it might be time to figure out we can't find a better solution than what we've got going on here in the world. And it's not just United States, but it's the world as well. So what do you think,
I was
Jim?
so much older then. I'm younger than that now. That's my theme song.
That's your theme song?
I was older then. I'm younger than that now.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that my dad taught me, or maybe it was my mom, but I remember when they turned 50, they said that they would like to start counting backwards. So that by that they would be like about, I think mom would be 22. Because like I said, I think she started doing that when she was around 50 or something like that, and she's now pushing near 78. So like I said, that's a new concept of you get to a certain age, you start counting backwards. Then when you get to an age that you're comfortable again, you start counting back up. So, you know, you just go back and forth until you, at some point, you forget what the age is.
That's it. It's just a number.
That's what I keep trying to tell. That's what I keep trying to tell the young ladies that I date, but they don't want to believe me on that because some of them are, you know, in that younger camp and everything, but they don't want to believe you when you say that age is just a number.
It's the delivery. It's a good line, but you got to deliver it properly.
See, I don't have the kind of skills that Saxy Rick got. You know, Saxy Rick is a musician. He knows how to deliver the lines in the right way. Yeah. But a friend of mine, they told me that they had the perfect solution. I believe the formula is that you can go half your age plus 7. At least that's the formula that I was taught and everything. So you can go half your age plus 7. So Saxy Rick, is that the kind of philosophy that you were living at when you were doing that whole dating thing?
No, I never. Everybody always thought I was younger than I was already anyway, so I never had that problem. I was always the young guy. I was always the youngest guy in the band. I was always the younger looking guy in the band, and I may have been the oldest, but I was always the youngest looking guy. I'm 62, so it's like I'm holding up pretty well.
Younger than that, I don't believe you.
I'm holding. I'm 61. I'll be 62 in March.
Okay, all right. Now you're talking.
But I'm holding up pretty well, man.
I'd go for 50s, maybe. Maybe
Yeah.
you can make me believe you're in the 50s.
I thought it was like 31, but that's another
Yeah,
story.
everybody's thinking that everybody's much younger.
I was taking notes about next time I go to the beach. I go, can I borrow your shirt? Okay, is that the latest line?
No, just say I
You
like
know,
that. I like that shirt.
I wish I had you as a coach in my younger days. Okay, hey, can I borrow your shirt? Sure. Okay. Okay. So take notes. On the other channel, there's The View going on right now, but they talk about different things than we do. They're not going to talk about, hey, can I borrow your shirt? I mean,
why to borrow? Why not to buy outright?
Buy outright, yeah. Can I buy your shirt? Actually, that might be a better line.
Oh, if the price is right,
All right, can I buy?
Nobody's
See,
getting their
actually,
hands on this
Sasha
one.
may have an idea because depending on who the person is, if they're famous, you buy their shirt and then you go around and you get on like one of the selling platforms and then you sell the shirt. So
Sure, yeah, you
Sasha
sell
may
it
have
on
the right
eBay.
idea.
Right, yeah, we learn a lot of stuff on IBM TV. Our international people start dropping off because it's late overseas,
Right.
which we find out after a while. Like the person in Hong Kong goes, "It's 3:00 in the morning. I can't do this anymore." So Rakesh usually starts leaving us. The guy in Great Britain goes, "Is Great Britain really great anymore?" Click, and so he takes off and goes somewhere else. But the rest of us are East Coast. West Coast in the United States, and Ankit usually stays in the background, even though it's late in New Delhi.
Ankit is amazing.
He's amazing. By the way, if you ever happen to work with Ankit, he works 24/7. He doesn't require sleep. He's really a computer amatron, and people don't know that.
Well, I was talking to Ankit on a phone call earlier today, and I'm actually wondering about Shaquille as well from Australia, because he told me that y'all had a 5-hour conversation yesterday, and I know that when I jumped off to do my show, he was still very energetic and all of that, and it was early morning. So I told Ankit that I'm actually beginning to think, and I want to know what the rest of y'all think, but I'm thinking that Shaquille might actually be a vampire. Because he does stuff that I believe in rest or anything of those natures. So I think he might actually be a vampire.
These people, they don't sleep. Now, Brandon hasn't spent enough time with the IBM TV family, but Brandon, once you start kind of like migrating over here, you're going to run these people. They don't bloody sleep. You know,
in this day and age, there could be a hologram.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think Ankit is really a hologram. He says, well, I'm from New Delhi, and I go, but anytime I talk to you, you work 12 hours a day, and I know it's like, so every time I talk to him,
he just presses a button and he comes on.
Yeah, Ankit, what time is over there? Oh, it's 3:00 in the morning in New Delhi right now. I said, dude, you're still up. Yes, I'll be up here for another couple of hours working. Then I go to sleep. When? Because you're back on at 6 in the morning. I mean,
that's what happened to me and Zach. Zach and I were on one night. It was maybe 9 or 10, and then he texted me later on saying he was having a problem with a program I gave him, and it so happened that I was still up, but it was 4:30 in the morning. So I texted him back. He said, "Hey, I didn't mean to wake you up." I said, "No, man, I'm up. These my hours." So for me to even get on here at 11 was hard, or 10 was hard, because I'm usually still asleep, because I go to bed like 7 in the morning.
Yeah, I mean,
and then I'll nap for 3 or 4 hours, then I'm up the rest of the day.
Chess players are like that too.
But the media people, I can't believe it. But Mark, you're right. Shaquille was on for 5 bloody hours and keep going. I mean, he's like the every bunny rabbit. He just didn't stop. So eventually you're going to quit. Yes. Alexander Starr, we have a voice of reason finally from Russia.
Announcement for tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We have investment show, and the panel will be. Obviously, Jim, as he always participates in it. There will be Shaquille, and there will be 2 youngsters from Toronto area who have considerable investment experience. So tomorrow, no prisoners are taken. We will get it all in the open, and it will be a real fight. So we'll find out who is who, what is what, and what worth. and it will be very, very, very serious. Unique experience.
I'm the referee. I'm not.
You're going to have to be the referee.
I'm always scared of you as the referee because I think that I might have to bring my friend in, the guy from the bump experiment, because I might have to call him and see if he can help you referee, because he was on my show and he was talking about the whole concept of kindness, respect, and that's what we need in the world discourse. That's kind of what he was talking about. So definitely, I might have to see if Billy is available to help you referee on.
I can't get him to neutral corners.
Yeah, you would think investments, everybody would agree, but that's not what happens. If you just Tequila and Sasha, they go at each other over the investments. Oh, General Electric is a dog. I'm getting rid of it. I do covered calls. You shouldn't do covered calls. They're horrible. You should do options. No options. You haven't done the research. You don't win on options. Only 1 year out of 500 years, but you can win it. It just goes on and bloody on. This is an investment show, but it's a great show. It's investing with Sasha Starr. So for those who are able to catch it, and then he also does Chess Stars. Who do we have for Chess Stars coming up on Saturday?
For Chess Stars this Saturday, we will have Grandmaster, actually from Ireland, but he moved to Ireland from Moscow, and he was very curious. How come the Ireland declared the war on Soviet Union in the 60s? And he just wanted to first-hand experience what it's all about. And he fell in love with Ireland, and he's there. He's teaching chess. And his
by the way, that's a great story. Alexander Starr, please tell the story again. I know the people in the panel have heard it, but a lot of people that listen to our show. Tell us the story about the war between Ireland and the Soviet Union and how that came about.
Story. What happened? It was exactly in 1967 or 68, and 68, I think. And Prime Minister of Ireland declared the war against the Soviet Union on the ground that it's a godless country, it's a communist country, they're lying, and Ireland will have to punish it for all these godless acts. And so Brezhnev, when he found about it, Brezhnev at the time was the first general secretary of the Soviet Union Communist Party, so he was the highest in the rank. So he phoned the Prime Minister of Ireland and said that he's very sad to learn that Ireland declared the war, and he just asked him a question: how many tanks do you have? So he said, we have 65 tanks, and Brezhnev says, well, we have 12,500 tanks, and how many warplanes do you have? He said 87. And Brezhnev said, we have 25,500 warplanes. There was a silence. And then Prime Minister of Ireland says, well, in this case, the war is cancelled.
And that stopped the war between Ireland and the Soviet.
Exactly.
Discretion, discretion is the better part of valor.
See, they did the wrong thing there. See, what they did wrong was they should have been trying to compare, instead of comparing the various warheads and the various weapons and everything, they should have been comparing the liquors, because I know that Irish also has a very rich liquor culture. Russia has the whole vodka. I think if they had compared that, it would have been a much fairer battle. I mean, Russia probably still would have won, but it would have been at least a little bit of a closer battle if they had compared those versus trying to compare the other things.
Right. Yeah.
Vodka
versus Irish whiskey. There we go.
Bushmills beats Jameson's. That's
the problem is that Russian bottles, they're huge by size. I mean, you know, this bottle, it can kill you.
Well, there's a scary thing there, though, that I noticed.
Bam, hit me up. How about some moonshine, guys? You can't compete against moonshine here.
Oh, you cannot compete against moonshine. Moonshine is going to win every time. I know about that whole moonshine thing. I had an uncle that before he passed, he used to make those very special drinks, whether it was out of plums, whether it was out of whatever. But Nick, I noticed something. I want to know if you noticed it as well. Sasha was showing us how big that bottle was. Did you notice that the bottle was also very empty?
Yes, I did notice it was empty. we don't know what happened.
Another one.
There's another one.
When last time have
No,
you
got
seen
some that are full.
ophthalmologist?
It's full.
Yeah.
You have to check your eyes more often. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
he's got
Hey, Brandon, I got a question for you.
It's clear. There you go.
Listen, we
Russia.
get
Where
Russian
would you want to
culture
go?
here on IBM TV. We don't have to go to Russia. We have our own resident Russian culture right here on IBM TV. Now,
Nick,
Brandon will probably have to go there. But anyway,
I
yeah.
wanted to ask Brandon where if he was, because he's the travel guy, where in Russia would you want to go? What is the destination that you would first choose to go to?
Well, Moscow probably first. I have some friends there, so I think it was to visit them. And it's a free place to crash. I probably head to Moscow first. We'll try some of those Russian, some great vodka.
Because mine would be St. Petersburg.
Yep,
that's
St.
where I
Petersburg
went.
would be
want
nice
to go to
too.
Moscow as well. Moscow and St. Petersburg.
But
those would be
Jim,
great places to visit.
Okay, wait a minute, Jim. You're the guy who goes to London to eat Chinese food. Okay, Indian food or whatever. Okay, here we have a person who is actually from Russia. Have you thought, rather than asking Brandon, who's a bloody American, why don't we ask the bloody Russian? If I went over there, where should I visit? Hey, let's go to the Russian.
Borscht.
He never traveled there.
Borscht.
He traveled there. Let's ask our Russian. Our Russian is right over there. Let's go ask him. Where should we
Ukraine.
go to?
I know to go to Odessa.
No, let's ask him.
Part of Russia, though. Odessa is part of Ukraine.
Yeah.
In Russia, yes, number one choice is St. Petersburg, easily. Second choice is Moscow, right? And third choice, there is none. I wouldn't go anywhere else. Except
the third choice is just to stay away from the rest of the
on the
city.
tourism
Like this.
board
The
there.
third choice is to stay away. So I like this idea. I do have a question for you, Sasha. You said you had on your investment show coming up 2 young folks. Do young folks even invest now? So I want to know if there is some actual investment going on in that whole area of Toronto. And if you could tell us a little bit about these young investors.
Okay,
and also, just
I'll
really
tell you.
quickly, before you get to that, I wish that Saxy Rick had stuck around, because there is this great thing that artists do as investments, and that is that they find somebody that's like a equipment, like it's the name brand of whatever their instrument is, and then they get an endorsement deal. So they wind up investing in that name brand, whatever that name brand is. So I think that that's their form of investment, because 1, they get free equipment, and 2, the only thing that they've got to do is make sure that the equipment is seen and that brand is out front. So that's their form of investment in the music industry, at least one of their forms.
Well, first of all, you touch many different subjects. Okay, let's go one by one. Number one is about investors, the young investors. I know for sure that one of them is a very bright kid. He has already, probably I think he's in his early 20s. He has already at least 3 years of, I would say, near professional level of investments. And another one, I think he's less experienced, but he's friend with this guy, so they're sort of like coming in pair. Now about music, if you mention music and then you mention music business, I want you to be aware that there are absolutely 2 different substances. Don't mix music and music business, okay? There's except that a word music is common for both of these things, but there is nothing in common between music and music business. There's nothing in common. Absolutely 2 different. One, music is the music for generations, what we love. Music business is a hustle. If you really want to be in the music business, I would recommend you look at either real estate or stock market investments or something else. Because you see, if you're hustling in music, you spend so much of your energy and time by selling yourself and what yourself is really worth. Probably between nothing and maybe $12.50. That's really all what you're selling. Now, however, if you sell real estate or you're investing in stocks, you spend also time and energy, but your results could be significantly better. I found it first in 1986. It was my year, and I was one of the top 3 pianists in Toronto area. And it was the first ever a year when I invested in stocks. And I've made 5 times more money in stocks that year than I made in music, including playing and teaching. And I was one of the top pianists, and I was making pretty good money. Doesn't matter. I made 5 times more, and I've realized that I cannot play 5 pianos at the same time, unfortunately. So by 1992, it was my last year that I professionally performed. And after that, it was businesses, investments, and everything else. I love piano still, and I'm playing as much as I'd love to, but not professionally.
And I don't blame you. Actually, I had a guest on my Straight Talk with Dean and Mark show, and I know that Kim loves the voice of Dean, so I got to hear Dean's voice on yesterday as we were having our conversation with Sugar T, who is a rapper out of California and also a grandmother. And that's part of the things that she was saying, was that she was so glad that while she's sad of what's going on with the pandemic and what's happening around the world, she was also glad that it was disrupting the music industry. Because as she put it, as far as she's concerned, concerts never have to come back. And she said it in a much more graphic kind of way than I'm saying it right now, because she was just glad that she was able to actually put her music out on her platforms and among her fans and her fan base. And as far as she was concerned, she was considered herself one of the founders of kind of the West Coast hip hop scene, and she never got the attention that she felt she deserved. So she was glad that the industry has been disrupted, because now it has given her a chance to actually put herself out there and do it in her way, not dependent on the corporate American music industry or the world music industry. So she's actually glad that this is happening. And she's also one of those people that does a lot of different kind of businesses, as was really fascinating. She was kind of like reminding me of Kim, in the sense that she's doing tons of things while she's working, because while she was on the show with us, she stopped by her her office. I think she went shopping. She also, because she had to pass off some stuff like some food to her office assistant, and she was doing like 2 or 3 other things. So she did like about 5 things while also doing a radio show with me and Dean. So we were here in the car going around, and she was making all these various stops while also having this conversation with us about the music industry and what the music industry is all about, and some of the various businesses that she has launched as well. So it's just amazing that, I think that we got some amazing women like Kim and like Sugar T that are just doing all kinds of things, and they're not letting little things like confines of their gender or the fact that folks think that they don't have enough time in the day stop them from getting work done. We were talking about Ankit and how he's real busy. Well, Miss Kim over there, she's got about 5 or 6 projects going on at the same time, including her inventions and various other things, and doing meetings, popping in with us. So, like I said, her and Sugar T at some point need to meet. I might have to bring her to Celeb Tuesdays also, but got to get y'all to meet at some point.
Please do. Everyone is busy. That's what I love about everyone. We're still here for each other. But you know what? Any one of you who are investors, entrepreneurs, or just living life, you're going to be doing more than one thing, right, Brandon?
Oh, right, yeah. It's always juggling.
And Jim, you know, I got to thank Jim. He's been filling the gap for me. Please don't be quiet just because I come on. I appreciate you coming on while I have to take care of some things. And, you know, the team is here. Mark has been filling, and everybody has been chipping in. You know, that's what makes a great team, though. That's what makes IBM TV a great family. We got each other's back. Same missions, different perspectives and views, but we don't let that get in our way of what? Finding solutions.
We find solutions, and speaking of solutions, yeah, and we're caring, and that's a great thing, and we're always finding those solutions, and that's just amazing. I've got news that Ankit already knows, but I'm going to share with the panel as well as everybody else that is listening. But we had a world-famous digital media person that actually gave us a shout-out on his platform, because he appeared on our platform, that being Srinivasan, who is a internationally known Indian-American entrepreneur and things of that nature. But he does these daily COVID talks And at the end of his show, he thanked me for being on his show, but he specifically said, and I was glad that I was on the Markley show on IBM.TV. So we got that plug on his international platform. So we got that plug, and he's also had some of his Twitter people that have tweeted it out on their platform. So we're getting some love even from people outside of our family that have their own separate families and everything. So just wanted to share that with y'all. And I wish Shaquille was here, because I know he was all the time yesterday, and I know him and Jim were going back and forth about some other things. But one of the things that he kept coming back to was the global community and how we have this divide. But he also had come here and found that a lot of people were talking to each other, and he just enjoyed that kind of environment. And that's what the Bumpet guy was talking about on the show yesterday. He was talking about how we need to have kindness, respect, and all of that. So him and Shaquille would definitely get along, because he also travels around the world, even though he's from a little town called Farmville, North Carolina, and now lives in Atlanta. But he was talking about how this whole concept of us having this kindness and respect and goodwill toward each other is the message that he is putting out there with the Bump experiment. So definitely, and apparently Bump was a guy that he knew that gave him some money to go to college when he was 17, and he's 61 now. So he's around the same age as Saxy Rick. So he's been on this mission now for a while. And what he does is he goes around and does what Bump did for him. So Bump gave him some money, and he never knew until much later who Bump was. But it turned out that it was his town's postmaster who gave him money to go to college and everything. And now he's going around and doing something similar. He told the story of actually seeing somebody at a grocery store that needed to pay their bills and was not feeling that they had the money to pay the bill for the groceries that they wanted and everything. He actually paid for it. He's actually bought people's cars when they needed to get around, and he's adopted a lot of other folks. So he's definitely going around and living the lifestyle. And he talks about, just like we have this village here that's got people from all cultures, that's what he has in Decatur, Georgia, because he said that on one side of him, he's got somebody I think that is of Muslim background. He's got somebody else that is a straight couple. He and his partner are involved in an LGBT relationship, but he just got like the UN right there in the neighborhood that he's living in right now. And that's what he's trying to encourage around the world. So I just wanted to give a shout out about that show. So if you've not heard the show, go back and listen to it. But he was a really great guest. The Mayor Pro Tem, Jillian Johnson, was also on that show. So we did talk about Black Lives Matter. And then we had a comedian friend of mine who is now retired from comedy because he has a 2-year-old. So the 2-year-old is stopping him from doing comedy. I'm sure Angie can relate to that when you got the kids, sometimes you got to sit back and reassess and readjust. I'm sure that at some point Eric will get back out into the comedy field. And then, like I said, the final guest was Shree. So it was an amazing panel. Eric was actually teasing me when I finally got to him on the panel. He was like, I am the least impressive person on the panel, and you got to be last, and you want to talk to me about sports, because he's a sports guy. So I'm like, we've been talking about all this serious stuff, and I'm the least impressive guy on the panel. Brandon may be feeling that way right now, but I don't know how Brandon's feeling.
Poor Brandon.
Well, Brandon, let's open up the mic to you. One, because I think I beamed in a little late, but let's talk a little bit more about where you're going with your TV or your show, and what we could do to how we can promote. And are you going to be airing on IBM TV?
That's the plan. That's the plan.
There you go.
Been talking to Ankit. We've edited a few teasers of B-roll footage to kind of have something to spice up, my boring old face for the show. But no, one of the things Mark talked about, I think, is really what I'm all about. Why I love travel is it's so much. I always kind of joke with everyone that when you travel, you learn that everywhere's kind of the same. Everyone's kind of the same. It's different culture, food, languages, and different customs. But everyone everywhere is going through their own problems. They're on their first day, they're going through a bad breakup. They're, looking for a job. It doesn't matter what country where you're at. And nice to see when you travel the kind of collective kindness of humanity and being able to really kind of enjoy the connections between people. I think that's really the key for travel for me. So I'm hopefully we'll be together a show soon. I've got some materials prepped, and we've been kind of working on the scheduling of it all. So hopefully that'll be coming in. I'm still putting videos out on my YouTube channel for now until I run out of travel content. being stuck with the coronavirus, pivoting to a lot more domestic content. That's actually been kind of the big pivot for me recently. Is I have some U.S. travel guide videos already out, but kind of putting that together looks like that's going to be the travel file, a little bit of a the domestic road trip, the American road trip kind of model of vacation. That's kind of the pivot for me. It's been a lot of fun to kind of start looking inward and looking into my own country and my own cities and explore my own backyard a little.
Now, Billy the Bumper guy was talking about how much he enjoys cruising and things of that nature. So whenever we get out of the pandemic, are you also going to be a big fan of cruising? Because he was saying that sometimes that's where he meets the folks, but he doesn't like to go on the cruise spots. He likes to actually get in, like you were saying, and actually see the actual real people and where they are, even though he's going on the cruise. But he is looking forward to going on cruises whenever the cruise industry comes back. Right now, it's kind of on hold like so many other industries are. And then you were talking about that everywhere you go, everybody has those bad breakups. I know I've had my share. I know that Jim's probably had his share. I'm thinking of the three people at the top of the panel. They've never had a bad breakup. Sasha, a bad breakup? Never. Ankit, he's been with his wife forever. And I'm thinking Kim has no idea what a bad breakup is. So I think that y'all are just wrong about that. So Kim's giving me that look like, oh, I've had way too many of these bad breakups.
I've had bad breakups with people I weren't even going out with.
Right. And I want Ankit to say what he has to say, and then I got a comment on that. But go ahead.
So we are working on a travel show. That doesn't mean that we will just showcasing the travel or how to travel and all those things. We'll talk about travel hacks. We'll talk about how to smart way to travel. How can you travel solo? And also we are working on a backend website or some kind of application which will engage more audience and make them understand what you have to carry while traveling and all those stuff. So it's not just about a show. We are trying to work on an ecosystem for all our travelers around the world. It takes time, but we'll start one by one, and then we'll add a lot of elements to it every now and then. And maybe we can add a lot of travel games as well. While traveling, you can play a lot of games because you spend a lot of time at waiting at the airport and lounges and all those stuff. So there are a lot of things can be discussed. But for that, I need to have a Zoom call with Brandon, which is not happening because of time schedule. So maybe once that happens, we can work it out basically.
Well, we can just work it out here. We do a lot of that,
Yeah.
but if nobody minds. But Brandon, I want to share with you a little bit of something about me that some people might not know, is that my family started one of the first international travel agency.
Wonderful.
And I worked for them and I learned so much about what it takes to travel. But they were literally the first international travel agency in the world. They took part in the first international flight from the United States to, I think, France. It was the first one that ever existed. That's how they developed their agency, and they grew this agency. Now, if you can recall, travel agencies had a strong hold in the world up until the time the internet opened up, and then you had all of these opportunities with Orbitz, Priceline, and things like that, which took their business somewhat away. But what I want to share with people is the experience that you get with an experienced travel agent. It far exceeds, and I'm not selling it because my family owned this agency. They're dead now. Okay. My aunt and uncle have passed away. The name of the agency was Holmes International, which we know somebody else who has a Holmes International. But anyway, they shared not just, the prices and getting group rates and how to make travel better. They gave people experiences that they experienced, fun, entertaining lifestyles of the community where you're traveling, because they went there more than once. And every time they would go there, they would just go out. Sometimes, we might go on a trip, and after the tour is over, after the people leave, stay an extra few days to learn more of what we can do to take to the next group. And let me tell you something, it wasn't all fun and play. It was a lot of work. A travel agent was a lot of work, a lot of due diligence, and a lot of negotiating to make sure that you can get the people the life experience that they want on that trip, as well as it being cost effective, as well as you end up with a lot of people grouped together that might not really get along together. So You had to learn how to juggle all of this. But I think that we've gone too much into the Priceline.com and the Orbitz experience, trying to cut all of the rates just to get out and travel, that we're missing out on some really good stories. And this is what I always tell everybody: education is valuable, right? Experience, it's very expensive, but other people's experiences are priceless. And I think that other people sharing their experience on how to travel to certain places is that priceless experience that's worth paying for. And, Brandon, I think that you're going to see the rise in need of a good travel agent expert. How to travel during COVID, how to travel in and out of different cultures with pandemic solutions, but also how to experience that culture while you're there. Because a lot of times, heck, I just, throw caution to the wind, get on a plane and go somewhere. I'm a magoo, basically. What happens happens. But I've been a travel agent. But that's kind of dangerous. It's not really safe to do that anymore. It's better to have somebody who will know to call the embassy, know who to call in the embassy in case something happens, and somebody who can get you out of the country. They've had that experience. They know how to get you in and out of a country safely. And, I'm one to say I've been in that situation once before, and it's not fun. So, my advice to people, this show, I think, is going to be great, not just to listen to you, but maybe if you're going into that business of offering people great, safe ways to travel, this is the rise of a new industry. I think it's something that needs to be invested in.
Kimberly, I want to support what you're saying because my wife and I have traveled quite a bit, and we've done it by ourselves, and we've done it in organized ways as well. And my favorite experience was a river cruise down the Danube. We started in Nuremberg, we ended up in Budapest, and we took some side trips as well. But there are a lot of small towns that I would never have thought to visit. And we had a guided tour of these towns, and we learned about their history, and we learned so much that we would not have known about just walking around by ourselves. So it was one of my favorite experiences travel-wise.
My best experiences are hiring people from the area to give me a tour. Even though I'm a tour, old tour agency, my best experience, I know, just pick up the phone and call the people who do it.
Yep.
And I think that there's got to be a way to collaborate all of these people and share in the revenue, right? So say, Brandon goes, hey, I can make sure you get some great experience in the US. Can you help my people when they travel to France or Italy or India? Can you? And then we collaborate in the share of the revenue. And I think that when we start doing this, you're going to start seeing the travel agency business rise. Thank you, Jim.
I agree with you on that. Brandon, I had a quick question for you. Which is, sorry, Sasha. Go ahead.
Sorry. I just wanted to mention somewhere earlier in the show, someone said that proliferation of online bookings, travel, and so on, people trying to save some money compared to the traveling using the services of the travel agents. And this is by far the biggest misconception of all, because travel people, sometimes they provide better prices for better services than all these online bookings. When you're doing all these bookings online, you're on your own. What if you want to change your itinerary? You want to change ticket? You want to go to another hotel instead of this one?
Exactly.
It's a headache. It's a nothing but headache. I would never, ever even consider to go to a travel, even if it's a straightforward thing like last travel I did to South America cruise with my wife, and I use travel agent all the way. Although the cruise ship is the simplest thing to imagine. You get on a ship and the ship goes where it goes, and you had all amenities, food, and everything is there. I still use travel agents simply because of the experience, because of help if something could happen. we were fortunate enough to arrive back on March 2nd, and by March 15th, the country was just closed, and we just made it basically on time. But I would never, ever travel without the help of a good, experienced travel agent. Remember, not just any travel agent, good and experienced travel agent. That's a key word.
I
And just
agree with
real quick,
Austin.
I'm sorry, just real quick, I was going to really ask Brandon a real quick question and everything. But I remember when I went on my one and only cruise, I'm hoping to go on more cruises whenever the pandemic ends and we can actually get around and everything. But I went on my one cruise, it was to Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Grand Turks. And I can't remember whether it was Puerto Rico or the Virgin Islands. I think it was the Virgin Islands. But I went on one of those cruise tours, and they went on one of those really rickety buses, and it was like in a very narrow road. So I'm not gonna lie, I was a little scared on that narrow road on that rickety bus. So I was just curious, what is the most like that kind of experience that you've had in your travels? And just a real quick aside, Jillian, who was on the Mayor Pro Tem here in Durham, one of the things that she said and that Eric kind of joked about was, yes, I'm hoping that we'll be able to get to these cruises and all these wonderful places that we want to go, because that's one of the questions I asked them was what was on their bucket list of places to visit. But then both of them were like, look, I'm just willing to go down the road. So I think Eric was like, I'm ready to go to Durham just to get away from Raleigh, and vice versa. Jilly was ready to go down the road to Raleigh. So I'm sure that even though they're in Ankit just trying to figure out how to get down to the next town, much less try to go all these big trips and everything. But Brandon, let me turn it over to you. What's the most kind of like those nervous experiences that you've had? Because I was nervous on that little rickety bus as we were going down that very narrow road, and it was going up a mountain.
Well, I think I kind of want to touch a little bit on what Kimberly was saying too. I think one of the things I really strive for is there's a lot of content out there. There's travel channels, a lot of blogs. And so one of the things I really strive for is I'm all about showing mistakes and showing the screw ups, showing you the not glamorous parts of travel. I'll write a long post about apply a permanent residency card in this country and take you through the whole process of me getting fingerprinted in 16 different locations and the borings, and share that with you, so that way you kind of get a sense of what it takes. So one of the kind of, I guess, scarier experiences for me in France and the UK around Christmas time and New Year's this year, and I had lost my passport. It was stolen out of the hotel by, I think, housekeepers. Never able to recover it. So that's a scary thing to have happen abroad. And I was there on business, so I had to continue to keep my schedule as best I could, making appointments at the embassy, trying to get an emergency passport. Well, that was great, but also needed to have a visa so that I could go to one of the countries later, a couple months later. And the visa was coming while we were in, so I needed to have a full passport in like a couple of weeks. And so I made a very long process, made a YouTube video throughout the whole 2 months of me working on that process, losing the passport, getting an emergency one, going to the embassy, being out the wazoo, get those documents. And it was utter chaos. I remember being in, I think it was in Marseille, and made a so that the immigration attorney could take the passport to the embassy in Paris on a specific date. I had been around this date, and I had left trains of the French office envelopes at the hotels I was staying at. No matter where the passport ended up, be able to overnight it to these hotels. So I just had like this whole kind of array of overnight envelopes at hotels. And then the date changed. The immigration attorney reached out and said, hey, I'm actually going to Paris for the last round of visas like 5 days earlier. So like I'll need your passport by then to get the visa. And I think so. The scariest experience for me was hightailing it out of Marseille, going to the train station and struggling through French, because I don't speak much French, to book a train ticket to get to Dijon, where I had been stranded for a few days without a passport earlier that month, so that I could pick up where I thought the passport had been delivered at this hotel, not been delivered to that hotel. So then I had to take train. I mean, it was just chaos, utter chaos. So I made a video to show all of that and say, here here's what happens when you lose your passport abroad. Here's what you can't. Emergency passports are great if you're just a tourist, but if you're there for 6, 7, 8 months, in other countries, so eventually you gotta have a full passport, and here's what that process looks like. So it was quite a traumatic few months to deal with. I actually remember, ironically, I had the emergency passport, and I had booked a flight to, I think it was Lyon in France, somewhere in France. And I remember before I got on, boss, because I was there on business, called me and said, hey, our immigration attorney just called and said the French government doesn't recognize emergency passports as a valid form of entry into the country. And she was like, what are you going to do? And I was like, well, if I get deported, I guess I'll just, go chill in the States for a while and figure things out. So I got on this flight. I remember getting to the border at this tiny, tiny airport in this kind of provincial town in France. And the immigration guy checked my passport and kind of looked at it. And the emergency ones, they don't have the biometrics. They don't have the scanning and the chipping and all that. He couldn't scan. He's trying to scan it. And he looked at me and he was like, is this an American passport? Yes. Like, don't throw me out. Don't throw me out. And it's like, oh, okay. And he kind of looked at it. He was like, brand new. And I went, uh-huh. And he went, well, what are you doing in the country? And so I had to go through the story of, you see, everything's kind of fine, and I'm just a very busy person, and let me through. And he finally did let me through with some kind of weird looks, but I was looking over my shoulder leaving the airport the whole time, waiting for them to detain me, throw me in French jail. But I share that. That's the point of the channel. I want to share that with you, and so I'll be walking through the streets at 3 o'clock in the morning with my luggage to catch a train. Holding my phone out in front of me, camera out in front of me, and going, this sucks. I look dirty and I'm gross, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. This is why you should never lose your passport, kids. Share those experiences, share those mistakes. That's my big goal.
One of the things I want to ask you is, I have a passport, and I got the passport ID as well, right? Which is not the passport, but it is a passport ID. So when I ordered my passport, I said, yeah, go ahead and give me the ID as well, which has actually come in handy for me. My thoughts were, if I were ever traveling abroad and the passports get stolen all the time, I could at least use this. Will this not work? Because I've never had to rely. I've had to use it for other things, but not that.
That's very good for if you go to a liquor store in the States and you need to show your age, and that's about all that's about all you'll do.
You can't drive with it. You cannot drive with it.
That's true. See, the passport cards are super limited. Us Americans, we can use them to get into, I think, like Puerto Rico and like other territories, U.S. territories, but that's about it. That's about all you got.
Now some of the countries have e-passports now, so if you lost your passport, if you have an e-passport, you can easily carry that as well. But it's not acceptable and available around the world. But I think it's the future of passport. And also, when Sacha talk about travel industry and services, what happens is that in travel industry, and it's one of the industries where there's a lot of dependency. So if you want to travel to India or Europe or somewhere, you have to talk to like 50 different people who are a part of your plan. And if one messed up, you will screw up that travel agent guy. So, I mean, it's not about how much money or service you are putting in. It's about all those people who will be able to serve you better. And if one screwed up, the total trip screwed up.
And the thing you learn is that they don't talk to each other. People at embassies are not experts. I'll be on the phone with an American embassy in London, and they'll say, you need to have the Spanish embassy do this. Hey, Spanish embassy goes, no, we don't do that. You have to have this done in your home country. Well, we don't do that in our home. And you're back, and it's like, this is, how do I, navigate? How do I navigate all that?
I started a travel portal way back in 2010. And the name was Travelers Lounge, and then we were just planning special trips. It's not like you can book tickets and all this stuff, but special trips in a form of experiences and all this stuff. But we had a very hard time because we wanted to serve the best, but we are not getting the same response from hotels and all those people because it's all about money. And then you have to show your face to the client, and then you don't want things like that. So we end up closing that business because we don't want to, ruin anyone's experience. And that's what happened, because it's not about money, because people in travel, they spend anything if the experience is good. They don't mind that if it's $100 more or less. It's all about experiences. And if you are not able to do it, it's worthless. So in fact, we have returned a lot of money, whatever we have gained from the customers, because we don't want to lose the face. And that is what the industry is all about. But it's one of the good and one of the bad industries, because there are a lot of there is no policy as such. There is no protocol, and you can't in fact screw, or you can't sue a person who is in a different country. So what happened is that I was visiting Bali, and then when we landed in Bali, we saw that a lot of our stuff is already opened up. So we lost a lot of things which we are not sure what happened. We complained that, and we were there in Bali for 14 days. Nothing happened. And then and then one more thing. I mean, I applied for a Singapore visa through an agent, and it took 3 weeks. And we almost finishing our trip from Bali, and we reconfirmed that whether we get the visa, because it's an e-visa. And the travel agent said, "I'm sorry, I forgot to apply your visa." And I was like, "What's this?" Because it's an e-visa, and anyone can apply. Then we applied it. We stayed in Singapore airport, Changi airport, for 1 day. Nothing happened, and then we have to come back.
Well, Ankit, could this problem be solved by facial recognition?
I'm going to tell you my story about facial recognition if you haven't heard it.
Okay.
So I do a lot of work with federal government, including going to conferences where there's FBI, law enforcement, and all the great and wonderful Ankit's heard this story. All the great and wonderful tools for what they use, including facial recognition, which actually they've been experimenting with since the 80s, right? So I'm at one of the conferences about 2 or 3 years ago for my invention. It's huge with NIST, Smart Cities Conference. And there's all these great and wonderful people, and the FBI's there. Hey, let us test your facial recognition. And I've got my entourage with me. I've got my attorney with me. I've got my engineers with me. My executive team is with me. And they come up to me and they go, "Hey, come on, let us do facial recognition with you." I go, "Nah, I'm not going to do this because it always confuses me with my sister." No, it won't. I go, "No, I'm telling you, it always confuses me with my sister." And so I finally said, "Fine, whatever." My attorney's laughing, right? So they scan my face, and guess who comes up?
Your sister.
Your sister.
Hillary Clinton.
Oh.
Clinton.
So Hillary Clinton's face comes up, right? And so, "See, I told you." And they go, no, there's something wrong with our machine. They wouldn't let me finish, right? No, there's something wrong with my machine. Let us do it one more time. And I look at my attorney and says, go ahead. So I said, "Yeah, go ahead," right? Sure enough, guess who comes up? Hillary Clinton. And I look at him and go, "See, they never got this right. They still confuse me with my sister." And we walk off. My attorney's like, "Kim, for God's sakes, go back there and tell them Hillary's not your sister." Why should I? They're the FBI. So they're back there. You can hear them going, "Oh my God, is that really Hillary's sister?"
That's so funny.
I love that story.
That's what really happens. So just to let you know, as good as facial recognition is, there are some things that you can do if you're a really, really good makeup artist, that you can really confuse the facial recognition. Even though it's all bone infrastructure, eye color, you can still do some alterations that make your bone structure look different. I know, I play with TV makeup.
Yeah, so, cheaters will always be one step ahead.
Right, and they're just not going to be able to do that. But I've always found it interesting that they always confuse Hillary and me when they do facial recognition. And I wonder if she looks at that and goes, "Why do you guys always get me confused with Kim Calhoun?"
Yeah, she probably wanted the same thing. Jim,
right,
you were talking about computers always right and everything. I don't know about that. I've worked in the school testing business, among other things that I've done. And one of the things we do is we try to test against the computer. And part of what we found is the computer is good on a lot of things, but the computer is not good about understanding nuances. And if you know anything about kids and writing and what they do, they speak in nuances a lot. So the computer's not good at that. So they don't understand satire. They don't understand sarcasm. They don't understand a lot of the nuances, at least not yet. And getting his computer folks may be working on that, and they may be getting to it. But right now, they don't quite get it. They don't quite get nuances. So they don't understand that. They don't understand the nuances at all. So they get very lost in that category. And to your passport ID, I did learn that the passport ID is real interesting because it also serves the same purpose as the birth certificate, because you can get on a cruise all day long with your birth certificate as long as you're on the cruise ship and it's in U.S. property. But then you need that real passport if we get out of U.S. waters or anything, because I did learn that when I went on the cruise, because it was pretty much all U.S. territory. So I actually did not have my passport, but they were like, hey, if you got your birth certificate and some other forms of ID, you can still get on this cruise. But I had to have that. So I'm just curious. And the other thing I was going to ask you real quick, Brandon, is that the only place, the U.S. territories? I think that's the only place that you can go is U.S. territories with your birth certificate. And then the other thing is, I was curious what you think about, I call them destination kind of like trips, but they're like trips of a common group. So like, I know that there's like some folks that might go because they're part of a singles community or they're part of the singles life. And I'm sure that there are people that go on trips that are chess lovers, and there are people that go that are like part of the skiing communities or the various other kinds of communities. But what do you think about those community bonding trips? Have you been on those? Are you a fan of those, or are you not a fan of those?
Well, that's a great question. I'm really not a fan. There is a place for them, absolutely, for people who have never really traveled. They're anxious traveling, and so doing it with a group of other people from their country feel safer. I hate group travel with a passion. It always ends up a mess. Ends up making friends and mortal enemies, and you always have a person who can't figure out how to split the check, because you never really split the check in European countries. Staff won't do it. You have to go through yourself and add things up if you want to. So it always ends up one person with the bill. Always ends up one person wants to go here, one person doesn't want to go here. Someone else needs to go to the bathroom. Now somebody and take a picture, and it just ends just a mess. I've always hated group travel. I can go with friends if I'm out and I'm in the country. I'm happy to meet up with friends and take a trip with 2 or 3 people. Those big kind of charter bus, college students go to England or go to trips are not for me at all.
No, I agree, and I'm going to add to it the drama. Oh my God,
Yes.
It's worse than a wedding sometimes. And here you are supposed to be giving people the most wonderful experience. And every time you can't make everybody happy. That's something I did learn. It was a good experience for me to realize you just cannot make everybody happy, no matter what lengths you go to. Everyone's going to just have a bad opinion about some part of the trip. So I agree with you. I prefer, if you can, doing individual trips, but you don't get them good deals that way, right? So, and families, when you take families, oh my gosh, the drama of all the kids, right? I don't want to be here. I want to be home. I could be with my friends. And you're just like, oh my God.
You realize that National Lampoon's Vacation were in fact factual documentaries.
Well, Brandon, I saw the craziest thing when I did go on that my one cruise, which is I saw a group of, I believe they were either Amish or Mennonites. But, there's this whole ritual that the Mennonites go through where they basically have like a year to basically enjoy the world before they have to go into that closed, confined environment. And there's a nickname for it. But those Mennonites were having way too much fun because they knew that they were going to be going back into that more closed, confined environment in Pennsylvania. But I mean, they were out there swimming with the dolphins, doing all kinds of other things, but they were definitely enjoying themselves. And it's a ritual for like the teenagers. It's like a coming of age ritual. So definitely those kids were having a good old time.
It's Rumspringa, formal name for it. The Amish do some sects of the Amish do it, and it's like an extended spring break meets Girls Gone Wild meets Olymp. I totally with
automobiles. My other favorite planes, trains, automobiles. Right? If it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
I once again, it was probably one of the best experiences of my lifetime to understand how to really deal with people in situations that are just awkward. And at the end of the day, everything works out.
No, I agree with you. Everything seems to work out, but I have been invited on a couple of those trips that are group trips. And I'm like y'all, I'm sitting there going like, I'm 58 single. And some of these were when I was even younger and single. And they were like saying, yeah, go on a single trip to like, I think one was like to Utah or something like that. It was going to be on a skiing trip. And I think one was going to be like a boat cruise. And I'm sitting there going like, that sounds good in theory. But, somebody in that single group is not going to be having success as a single and then trying to pair up. So I'm sitting there like, that would probably be me. So I would be the one that would have that kind of luck and not trying, and that makes it just a worse experience. So I'm sitting there going like, no, I think I'll go with my family. I'll go like you, Brandon, with a group of friends or people that I already know. But I do love meeting new people while being on those trips, but I do not like going in those kind of closed environments that are there for a specific purpose, whether that's the purpose of single folks getting together. I've also seen folks where they're whole married couples that might get along really well in their neighborhood, say in Delaware or in Melbourne, Australia, but they don't necessarily get along all that well when they get on that boat together. So I think that even sometimes if it's a common goal of even people that might be married, or I use that example, I'm sure there are chess cruises. Sasha, do we know of any chess cruises out there where it's just nothing but chess players and they're out there doing the whole chess thing and that's all they're doing on the cruise?
Not lately, but maybe 20, 30 years ago, there were in Europe and in the Caribbean, there were a few cruises. And by the way, the funny story happened to me. I was working as a musical director and a pianist on Cunard Princess, and then a few years later on Cunard Sea Goddess 1. Sea Goddess 1 is a fantastic cruise, and they have 120 crew and servants for only 100 passengers. So it's like pampering any way you can imagine. And I was also playing chess. I was providing simultaneous chess exhibition for passengers. And once, like, I was winning normally all games, there were some prizes for winners or so on. But once I played a game, and I felt something strange. I didn't have control of the game. My position was probably equal, but sometimes I couldn't guess my opponent's moves, and I didn't have control of the game. And I figured out, okay, I'll finish my other games, and I will concentrate on this game and will try to win. And guess what? Once I finish all my other games, I've won all of them, and concentrate on this game. And in about 5, maybe 10 moves later, I lost it. And my opponent, he apologized and said that he wanted just to play it for fun. He was a Grandmaster Andrew Soltis from the United States, and we spent a lot of time together. And he was with his wife, Marcia, and my wife was with me on the cruise, and we then played double chess. I was playing with my wife as a team, so we had to change, make my move, they reply, and then my wife would have to do her move, and we cannot talk to each other during the game. So we had a lot of fun. We beat them with a respectable score, but that was a very funny story.
No, that's what's great about some of these stories. Brandon, another idea I came up with is even though I've never liked those group trips, one of the ways my family kept the travel agency going was to do group tournament tours, right? Like, maybe say for instance, the group set up for the chess community having tournaments somewhere, but just being that extra coordinator, not just, saying, oh, look, we got to get this hotel and stuff like that, but being that extra coordinator that makes sure everybody gets there and has some other things to do. And one of the things they would do is that they made contract deals with the universities to do the bowl games. So my aunt and uncle actually would host the travel agency part of all of the university bowl games, which I thought was pretty cool. So they weren't 100% like involved there as a travel agent saying, go here, go there, let's all line up and do this. What they did is they just made sure everybody got there, everybody got their room, right? And that there was a package there for them to do other things if they wanted to, right? If people sent them a note saying, I really would like to tour the dam while I'm there, or go see this restaurant, then they would just make sure in their package they had that available to them. And that was the one way that they kept their business going when the price lines and stuff came about. That's how they kept things going through that era. And but I think, doing something with the chess community, they're pretty nice people. Actually, I went to one of their tournaments in Charlotte, and they're pretty easygoing. They just want to play chess and maybe go to a few good restaurants nearby. But to pull them away from that chessboard is pretty difficult.
Yeah, that might be difficult on a trip. They might not want to go to the different tourism types. But
No,
I
they
do have a
don't
quick
go
question
up,
for
but
Ankit.
they're
I have a question for Sasha. Sasha, how much a chessboard cost? A good chessboard cost?
A good chess book?
Yeah,
You don't
not a
want to
book,
know.
board.
The
It's a
board.
board, a chessboard.
Oh, chessboard. Well, I have one autographed by Gary Kasparov. That chessboard would cost probably $900, and chess pieces would cost probably around maybe $400, $500.
Oh my gosh.
Well, look, you can buy a decent chessboard probably for $15, $20 as well.
Yeah.
And it depends what's your taste and what you feel comfortable with.
I mean, I like
Actually,
the
books could be expensive. One that I showed you lately. Forgot what it is. I hope nobody stole it from me. Anyway, that book is $250. Wait a moment, I'm worried now. Hold on.
Thank you. While he's looking for the chessboard and everything, I do have a quick question for you. Oh, there's the book. Yep, there's the book.
Okay.
Thoughts and choices in chess. Great title. I like that title. Ankit, my quick question for you, just to get into the chess and everything. Oh, that's real.
Okay, academic. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Amsterdam.
Okay, I didn't quite catch that. But Ankit, my quick question for you is about the recruiting of folks on cruises, because we've talked about travel and the cruise industry. Like I said, I've only been on one. I know I should be ashamed of myself. But the one thing I was amazed at was the amount of folks from Indonesia, India, Bali, and stuff that were part of the staff of the cruises. Because the cruise folks come out there, I know part of it is because of the class and the cast and different other things, and they're trying to get opportunities. But do the cruise ships come out there and recruit these folks, or is there like a big job market? How do they go about finding these folks? Because the majority of the staff was Asian.
So basically, we don't have that much of cruise ships coming to India, but there are a lot of cruise companies who recruit people from India because of hospitality and other things. And then we understand different cultures, and people want to work in the travel industry. They think that it's one of the great industry to work with. And then they have a lot of perks and all those things. So people of India wants to work in travel industry, and they go to different countries to work. So they work in airline industries, they work in cruise ships, and they work in hotels and all those things around the world. So that is what it is. It's not about that we have a lot of tourism of cruise and all this thing, but people want to work on the other way.
That makes sense, because I'm sure Brandon noticed the same thing, that a lot of the staff is made of the folks from those countries in the Pacific Rim kind of area.
But Brandon, have you experienced that you get a chance to cook in a hotel while traveling?
I experienced what?
Cooking in a hotel kitchen.
Yes, actually, I have a blog post about it on my website. For a few months there, I traveled with this was a few years ago. Traveled with a little tiny bullet blender, a little like baby micro bullet blender, and a little baby electric skillet, so that I could cook in hotel rooms. And I learned very quickly that depending on where you're in, some hotels are like that kind of thing at all, and some hotels don't mind it much. But you have to be super careful when I do that, because you can had a little like kind of skillet grill thing from I think Japan, and when we were in the UK, I wanted to use it. A friend who was an electrician was warning me against it, because I said, no, this is like 115 whatever volts, and so it was like, if you plug here, it's like 240, and you use an adapter, but it was like, you're gonna blow something, it's gonna probably explode. And I thought, well, I better careful there. So I gave up that.
I have an experience cooking in hotel rooms as well as cooking in the hotel kitchen as well, where it's a restaurant.
The hotels don't usually let me in there. Have on like Thanksgiving, I've had hotels that'll let me use their kitchen to cook or like on Christmas?
I went there and I have to say that my wife is not in a good mood and I have to cook something for her. So please allow me. And I know how to cook because I run a restaurant in New York. So I know how to cook it out. No, not in New York, in New Jersey. So they allowed me. I have I have cooked a delicious dish curry for them, a cheese curry, and then I served them as well. And then I took something for my wife in Bali, and that's how. And they offered me that if you are around, we can set up a restaurant underneath the hotel.
Sounds like a great idea. Brandon, do you prefer the hostel or the Airbnb? Because I know that you can do both if you're traveling Europe, I think. But which is your preference?
I stay away from hostels almost really. I'm not. I mean, I'm only 26, but I feel like I'm just too old to be in a room with a bunk beds, and so I definitely am B&B guy all the way.
Really? Wow. So Airbnb has changed a lot of things. I still like, I mean, I do Airbnb because I like the team that if we're traveling as a team, it's really great because we can hang out and cook in the kitchen together and things like that when we're doing business trips. And so it's a whole lot better than going to your hotel room by yourself and meeting in the lobby. But sometimes when I travel for vacation, I really like that, that hotel, just not having to worry about anything, right? And but no, I think it's so cool what Airbnb has done. And your experiences with traveling with cookware. I used to do that when I was in my 20s and traveled for Nortel because I traveled so much. And I wanted to cook my own food sometimes. Well, we didn't back in those days. They didn't have efficiency hotels or Airbnb, and so I did the same thing. I packed like a little hot plate, a frying pan, and some utensils, like a little Boy Scout kit, right? And I could go to the little grocery store down the street and cook my own food. But it's challenging to do that. And Kit, I commend you for schmoozing the hotel restaurants. I want to take you traveling with me.
Oh, one of the other things you can do that is
part of the travel hacks.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the other things you can do, actually, believe it or not, I learned this from a stewardess on that I was schmoozing. How to cook in coffee pots. Now, if the hotel room has a Keurig, you're out of luck. But if it has one of those old school carafe and hot plate coffee pots,
oh yeah,
believe it or not, I've done this. You can put I put broccoli in the top, so where the coffee would come through, or where the water would come through, and you put your fish or whatever you want in the bottom, and you can actually make like kind of a broiled salmon and broccoli and rice meal out of one of those coffee pots. I've done that a few times. It's a lot of effort and a lot of cleanup, but yeah, that's totally possible.
A little bit of fish and a little bit of shrimp you can cook, or like you said, some salmon you can throw down there at the bottom. It doesn't get stuck as bad. And that broccoli steaming, I hadn't thought about that. That is brilliant. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's lots of little tricks like that.
Share another trick, please. I'm looking for all these tricks, Brandon, so I need another trick. So share me another trick, because I had not thought of the coffee pot. Don't, like I say, do enough traveling, but give me like one or two more tricks that we can pull off on a trip.
Well, I think, gosh, it depends on what you're for. There's lots of little hacks. Steaming your clothes in the shower, of course, is kind of a classic. If you need to get wrinkle-free, hanging them in a hot shower in the hotel for a while, be on that dry cleaning bill. I've definitely done that a few times. What's one of the big challenges you've encountered traveling that you would think you would want to hack for? Maybe I have an answer.
Well, I mean, definitely anything that can, save money on the food bill is always a great thing that we're looking for. So definitely that. So definitely want to save money on food bills. The other thing that I'm always curious about is how to get stuff out of the place after you've traveled. So let's talk about that. So, I'm a big person for getting gifts and things of that nature. And so if you get a nice gift, then sometimes you are worried about customs and other things. And I'm wondering how you get things out of the country. I know my dad actually snuck a turtle out, and the turtle lived with us for a long time, but he snuck it out of China, and that was his way of getting that pet. But that was a rare thing, and it's not something that they recommend. So what are ways that you would suggest to get some of those like art trinkets that you might get, whether that's a small turtle or some other like trinket that you might get from a Caribbean nation or a European nation?
Well, I mean, honesty is always the best policy there. If you're not, just ask Claire at customs what you can bring in. Usually, then is also pretty knowledgeable that they'll kind of know. If you ask them at the gate or you ask them when you're at the ticket counter, can I take this with me? Sometimes you can. It just has to be specially packed, or you have to let people test it. I had coffee beans that I brought back from Colombia, and every bag when I came back had a little hole in them with a sticker over it that they had stuck their needle in to make sure it wasn't, drugs or whatever sort of virus in a plant, I guess, that could come back. A general rule of thumb, I think, is if it's living, it's a bad idea. If it's a citizen that was alive, a plant, a flower, an animal, anything that would come from a farm, produce, vegetables, anything like that. There's I've had many fun experiences watching an angry old TSA agent with a little puppy run up to an unknowing couple because they had a salad or an orange or something that they had brought in from another, can have a big fight. So anything that's small and was never alive is probably a safe bet.
Now I know we really wound up and everything, but I know we got to wrap up. But I just had one very
no more
quick
questions. We're good.
Just a quick one. Okay, no, we'll save it for later.
We'll do it on another day. We got to wrap.
Yeah, we'll save it for another. Nick is giving me the nod, like no questions.
Brandon back, I promise, but we have less than a minute before our next show starts.
No problem.
Kit, you want to wrap and get our ambassador?
Yeah, and thank you for joining us on IBM TV Celeb Tuesday. It's time to wrap up, and before we wrap up, I'll just play the ambassador's message. So here we go.
कोरोना वायरस से कैसे बचेंगे? ओके, हैंड होकर और ऐसे अपने खांसी जब आएगी तो ऐसे करेंगे अथू अथू और कोरोना वायरस को धन्यवाद हमारा म्यूजिक सुनने का.
There we have it.
And it's time to wrap up. It was a wonderful show, and we'd love to host Brandon again on next Tuesday. And do join us on our Chess Without Borders show live on IBM TV just in a few seconds. And tomorrow we have a great show, Startup Wednesday, with the amazing topic about education in USA and what's happening with international students. So thank you very much, and it's time to wrap up. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.